Chapter 89. Humph. Zhou Donghuang's gaze turned cold, and he struck out with lightning speed. Before the patriarch of the great clan, Shi Hao, could react, his hands formed into claws and grabbed hold of his arms. Swish! As Zhou Donghuang grabbed Shi Hao's arms, Shi Hao finally recovered from the shock of seeing his father, Shi Ji, and his expression changed drastically. In that instant, he instinctively tried to shake off Zhou Donghuang's hands, but he found that no matter how hard he tried, his strength was like a rock sinking into the ocean, unable to make a single ripple. As for why this was happening, he was very clear. Zhou Donghuang's strength was far above his own. The strongest level 7 adept of the Shi family is only a so-so, Zhou Donghuang said calmly after allowing Shi Hao to exert his strength. After allowing Shi Hao to exert his strength, Zhou Donghuang spoke calmly. With a jerk of his arms, he actually lifted Shi Hao's entire body and threw him behind him. The next moment. Bang! Accompanied by a loud sound, it was Zhou Donghuang who, in the instant that he turned around, stomped his feet on the ground, causing the tiles to shatter into pieces. His entire body shot out, chasing after Shi Hao, who had been sent flying by him. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Donghuang was already in the air above Shi Hao's body. His slightly bent right leg suddenly straightened and landed on Shi Hao's chest. Following that, Zhou Donghuang landed on Shi Hao, landing right behind Yang Zishi and Ren Jiape. Boom! Another loud crash reverberated in the hall, and Shi Hao's body was smashed heavily onto the ground by Zhou Donghuang. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood, following in the footsteps of his father, Shi Ji, and being seriously injured. Zishi. Zhou Donghuang looked at the young girl who had turned around in fear and smiled at her. It's him, he killed your third uncle, now, you can kill him to avenge your third uncle. Hearing this, the young girl's hateful gaze fell on Shi Hao, and Shi Hao's eyes narrowed in fear. Miss Zishi, spare me. Spare me. Now, the situation was completely under the control of the youth who was stepping on him. If the young girl before him really wanted to kill him, he would definitely die. I am deeply sorry for the death of Third Master Yang. I can make it up to you. I can make it up to you. No matter what you want, as long as it is within my capabilities, I can give it to you. I can give you anything. In the face of life and death, Shi Hao completely panicked. Big brother Zhou, help me kill him. The girl remained unmoved as she stared coldly at Shi Hao. She felt no pity for the person who killed her third uncle, only hatred. All right. Zhou Donghuang nodded. Then, he exerted force with his foot, directly shattering Shi Hao's heart. Shi Hao's head tilted to the side, and he stopped breathing completely. Dad. How, With Shi Hao's death, both Shi Yu and Shi Ji's expressions changed greatly. Their eyes were filled with sorrow and unwillingness, but they did not dare to show any anger towards the youth who had killed Shi Hao. The youth's strength was too strong. With this youth's strength, not to mention killing Shi Hao, even if he wanted to kill them, it would be extremely easy. Thump. After Shi Hao's death, the girl knelt on the ground and bowed to Zhou Donghuang. Big brother Zhou, thank you for avenging third uncle. From today onwards, Zishi's life is yours. Silly girl, you don't have to do this. Zhou Donghuang helped the girl up and shook his head lightly. I am somewhat responsible for Third Master Yang's death, avenging him today is not purely to help you. However, the girl's gaze on Zhou Donghuang was filled with unprecedented determination. Zishi, this Yang Yunji, how do you want to deal with him? Zhou Donghuang looked at Yang Yunji, who was barely able to stand. His eyes narrowed, and a cold light flashed across them. Just as Zhou Donghuang finished speaking, before the girl could speak, Yang Yunji's expression changed drastically. With a thump, he knelt on the ground, his body trembling. Zishi, I am your uncle, you can't kill me, don't forget, I was the one who raised you. As long as you are willing, you can return to the Yang family at any time. After I return, I will immediately announce to the public that I have accepted you back into the Yang family. I was wrong, give uncle a chance, give uncle a chance. Seeing that the patriarch of the Tycoon Shi family, Shi Hao, had been killed, Yang Yunji was now completely terrified, and he frantically begged the girl for mercy. I really did not expect that you, Yang Yunji, would watch as third uncle was killed. You can ignore me as your niece. But third uncle, he is your younger brother. The girl looked at Yang Yunji and gritted her teeth, her body trembling in anger. From today onwards, I, Yang Zishi, will have nothing to do with you or the Yang family. Hearing this, Yang Yunji heaved a sigh of relief, because he knew that as long as the youth did not act on his own, his life would be spared today. After you return to the Yang family, prepare 5 million liang of silver. That is the money for your life today. Zhou Donghuang glanced at Yang Yunji casually and said, later, I will get my men to collect it from you. Obviously, Zhou Donghuang had no intention of letting Yang Yunji off so easily. Coincidentally, the money he had brought from Yunfeng Prefecture was almost spent. 5 million liang of silver? Yang Yunji's pupils constricted, and he looked troubled. In the past, it would not have been difficult for the Yang family to produce 5 million liang of silver, but in the past 6 months, he had been relying on 10-year survival grass to keep himself alive, and the Yang family had spent almost all their money. Now, the Yang family really could not produce 5 million liang of silver at once. What? Are you planning to sacrifice your life for money? Seeing Yang Yunji's troubled expression, Zhou Donghuang looked at him deeply, his eyes flashing with murderous intent. Seeing this, Yang Yunji panicked. Young Master Donghuang, I will prepare it when I return. I will prepare it when I return. Now, Yang Yunji had already decided to sell off some of the Yang family's businesses to raise 5 million liang of silver for this malefic person. This malefic person was someone he could not afford to offend. Zhou Donghuang nodded his head in satisfaction, then looked at the old man, who had long been frightened to the ground, his face pale. Medicine Master Xiao Chen, is it? What instructions does young Master Donghuang have? Xiao Chen, who had originally thought that he would be spared, looked at Zhou Donghuang in panic when he heard his name called, his eyes filled with apprehension. I was the one who cured the poison, and you falsely claimed that you were the one who cured it. Have you gained quite a reputation in the Chu royal city because of this? Zhou Donghuang asked meaningfully. Young Master Donghuang, in a moment, I will announce to the public that you were the one who cured Yang Yunji of the Yang family, and not me. Xiao Chen's expression changed as he said hurriedly. There's no need. Zhou Donghuang shook his head. I, Zhou Donghuang, do not care what the public says. The reputation you have gained, in the long run, will be worth at least 5 million liang of silver? As he said this, Zhou Donghuang looked deeply at Xiao Chen. And Xiao Chen's expression changed completely when he heard Zhou Donghuang's next words. 5 million liang of silver? This amount of money, he could afford it. But once he did, it would be equivalent to his many years of savings going down the drain. What? You can't afford it? Zhou Donghuang's eyes flashed coldly. Sensing Zhou Donghuang's murderous intent, Xiao Chen broke out in a cold sweat and nodded hurriedly. I can afford it. I can afford it. Money could be earned again if it was lost. But if it was lost, then there was nothing left. Xiao Chen understood this principle. Very good. Zhou Donghuang nodded in satisfaction. Later, I will send someone to the Shi family to collect the money for you. You'd better prepare it as soon as possible. If my man does not get the money by then, I will come to the Shi family to look for you. At that time, it will not be as simple as a mere 500 liang of silver. As he said this, Zhou Donghuang looked deeply into Xiao Chen's eyes, causing Xiao Chen to hurriedly reply, Young Master Donghuang, don't worry, I will prepare the money in 2 days. The Shi family, Zhou Donghuang's gaze fell on Shiji, who was looking at his son Shihao's corpse with a face full of grief and anger. He said calmly, 10 million liang of silver, to the Shi family, is not much? As he said this, Zhou Donghuang's gaze fell on Shiyu, and his lips curled into a cold smile. If the Shi family is not willing to pay, you can, just hand Shiyu over to me. Shiyu could be said to have played a role in adding fuel to the fire in this entire matter. Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, Shiyu's expression changed, and he hurriedly knelt down in front of Shiji with a look of fear. Grandfather, save me. Save me. Shiji said gravely, young Master Donghuang, don't worry, the Shi family will prepare 10 million liang of silver within 2 days. Today, even though he was a level 8 adept and the backbone of the Tycoon Shi family, he could only admit defeat. Because, the youth's ability was stronger than his. Even if the youth was not a level 9 adept, he was definitely one of the best among level 8 adepts, and he and the Shi family could not afford to offend him. Old Patriarch Shi is indeed straightforward. Zhou Donghuang smiled, then beckoned to Yang Zishi and Ren Jiape, and swaggered off with them. As the three of them disappeared from sight, Shiyu immediately looked at Shiji, his eyes flashing coldly as he said hatefully, Grandfather, we must avenge father. Avenge? Shiji laughed bitterly. Even I am no match for him, tell me, how can we avenge him? Grandfather, we can go to the Chu royal household to sue him. Shiryu said. The Chu royal household? Shiji shook his head. Not to mention the fact that he killed your father, it was just a normal revenge. Even if it was not a normal revenge, your father's death would not affect the Shi family. The Shi family is still a tycoon family, and the Chu royal household would not care. Shiryu was silent. Our Yang family has missed out on a great opportunity. If there was anyone present who regretted it the most, it would be Yang Yunji, the patriarch of the Yang family. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined that the youth he had always looked down upon would be such a powerful and frightening figure. If the youth had really fallen in love with his niece, Yang Zishi, and stayed in the Yang family, he could definitely lead the Yang family to become a tycoon family. Chapter 90. After returning from the Shi family mansion, Zhou Donghuang began to focus all his energy on practicing. As for the debt with the Yang family and the Shi family, he had asked Fu to retrieve them. There was a total of 20 million silver taels, which made him rich again, even though he was originally struggling to make ends meet. The 2 million liang of silver that he had brought with him from Yunfeng Prefecture was almost completely spent. In his room, Zhou Donghuang, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed practicing, suddenly opened his eyes. When practicing the Lord of the Four Supremes, does the state of complete focus have to be triggered over time? The state of mind without distractions is all about calming one's mind. There are many medicinal powders that have the effect of helping to calm one's mind. Can I directly enter a state of no distractions by consuming those medicinal powders? Zhou Donghuang was now practicing the Lord of the Four Supremes, and once he entered the state of complete focus, his practice progressed at a speed that was incomparable to his usual practice. For example, when he had been in the intermediate prefecture of Guangling Prefecture, his practice had been at level 5 of Qi gathering. In the short span of 4 months, when he had reached the Chu royal city, his practice had advanced to level 7 of Qi gathering, breaking through 2 levels in a row. This was all because he had entered the state of complete focus, triggering the extreme speed of practice of the Lord of the Four Supremes. However, if he wanted to enter a state of complete focus, he would need to cultivate in seclusion, and he couldn't be disturbed too much by the outside world. Just now, Zhou Donghuang had an idea. Could he make a medicinal powder that could help him focus and calm his qi so that he could enter a state of cultivation with no distractions beforehand so that his cultivation speed could be maintained at the limit of the Lord of the Four Supremes at all times? Let's give it a try. Zhou Donghuang found a pen and paper and wrote down the names of a bunch of herbs on the paper. Then, he handed it to Fu and asked him to go out and buy all the herbs on the list. It would not be difficult to buy all the herbs listed in the medicine shops of the Chu royal city. Zhou Donghuang intended to formulate an elixir called concentration elixir, which would allow one to enter the state of complete focus in the shortest time possible upon consumption. In his memory, the spirit concentration powder was the best medicinal powder that could be formulated without the use of the true samadhi fire that was condensed from true essence. That night, Fu came back with the medicinal herbs. In less than an hour, Zhou Donghuang had formulated the concentrating elixir that he wanted and immediately consumed a bottle. After taking the spirit concentration powder and practicing, he was pleasantly surprised to find, with the help of the spirit concentration powder, his cultivation speed had reached the limit of the Lord of the Four Supremes in just a quarter of an hour. With this rate of practice, it won't be long before I can successfully attain level 8 of Qi gathering and become a level 8 adept with the strength of 8 bulls. After discovering that the concentration elixir was effective, even though Zhou Donghuang was as calm as still water, he could not help but smile. In the following period of time, Zhou Donghuang ignored the affairs of the world and immersed himself in a frenzy of training. The Chu royal city was as peaceful as ever. Whether it was the Grand Yang family or the Tycoon Shi family, everything was going according to plan. Everything was calm, and there was nothing out of the ordinary, nor was there any news. However, many of the Shi family members realized that they did not see the Shi family chief, Shi Hao, for a period of time. As for the whereabouts of the Shi family chief, according to the first young master of the Shi family, Shi Yu, he had gone out on business. And all this was arranged by the old chief of the Shi family, Shi Ji. If news of his son Shi Hao's death spread, it would definitely cause a huge uproar in the Shi family and cause unnecessary repercussions. That day, after the youth had left, he had ordered Yang Yunji and Xiao Chen to keep their mouths shut, completely sealing off the news of his son Shi Hao's death. Because of this, although Zhou Donghuang had displayed his prowess in the Shi family mansion that day, only a few people present knew about it. When Ren Jiapei returned home, she did mention the matter to her father, the current chief of the Ren family. Her original intention was to prevent the Ren family from offending the youth by Yang Zixi side no matter what. However, the chief of the Ren family only laughed at everything she said and did not believe her at all. No matter what she said, the chief of the Ren family did not believe her. She was just short of bringing her father to her big brother Zhou and giving him a beating. In the end, although Ren Jiapei was helpless, she knew why her father did not believe her. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, who would believe that a youth of 16 or 17 could easily defeat a level 8 adept? Moreover, that level 8 adept was the old chief of the Shi family, Shi Ji, who had led the Shi family to become a tycoon family 5 years ago. Zixi. Now, Ren Jiapei would stay at Chuxiu Inn for a few days when she had nothing to do, and after 3 months, her relationship with Yang Zixi was no different from that of real sisters. I haven't seen Big Brother Zhou in a long time. Has he been practicing all this time? Yang Zixi nodded with a smile. When she heard Ren Jiapei mention her big brother Zhou, her eyes narrowed into crescents, which was very beautiful. Some time ago, her big brother Zhou had imparted to her a new practice method and given her the shocking Qi gathering elixir. In 3 months, not only had she successfully attained level 1 of Qi gathering, but she was also not far from level 2 of Qi gathering. At this time, she also realized that her big brother Zhou was not an ordinary person, at least not by the standards of Yunyang country or the Valley of the Medicine Masters. Even the juniors of the top families and sects on the planet of Ziyun. I'm afraid none of them can compare to Big Brother Zhou. This was not the first time Yang Zixi had such a thought, and at the same time, she felt more and more fortunate to have met Big Brother Zhou. Zixi, I can tell, you like Big Brother Zhou. Ren Jiapei smiled. How about it? When are you going to confess? Do you need my help? After Ren Jiapei said this, she thought Yang Zixi would shyly deny it. However, not only did Yang Zixi not deny it, he even let out a long sigh. Sister Jiapei, I am already very satisfied to be able to stay by Big Brother Zhou's side. As for anything else, I don't have any extravagant requests. From the moment Big Brother Zhou avenged third uncle, my life was Big Brother Zhou's. Even if I were to be his slave for the rest of my life, I would be willing. As she said this, the corners of Yang Zishi's mouth subconsciously turned up in a bitter smile. If it had been 3 months ago, when she had just left the Yang family, she might have had the courage to confess her feelings and fight for her own happiness, but now, as she got to know Big Brother Zhou better, she felt that she and her Big Brother Zhou were from two completely different worlds. In front of Big Brother Zhou, she felt inferior and felt that she was not good enough for him. Perhaps only the daughters of the top families and sects on the planet of Ziyun were good enough for her Big Brother Zhou. Silly girl. Ren Jiape did not know what Yang Zishi was thinking, and she shook her head. Since you like Big Brother Zhou, you have to fight for it yourself. Many times, happiness is in your own hands. Big Brother Zhou is so outstanding. If you don't make your move soon, won't you be letting others take advantage of you? Ren Jiape was still trying to persuade her. Sister Jiape, you don't tell me you also like Big Brother Zhou? Yang Zishi looked at Ren Jiape seriously, and she lowered her head guiltily. Seeing this, Yang Zishi sighed to herself. Although Ren Jiape didn't admit it herself, it was obvious from her expression. Just as the atmosphere between the two girls became awkward, the door to the master's room in the courtyard opened, and a figure dressed in white walked out. Miss Ren is here. This was the first time in 3 months that Zhou Donghuang had stepped out of his room, and there was a strange expression on his face. He had finally attained level 8 of Qi gathering. Big Brother Zhou? Zhou Donghuang's appearance took the two girls by surprise, and they immediately turned their attention to him. Big Brother Zhou. Yang Zishi left her seat and stood up. Her beautiful cheeks revealed a watery gentleness. Her gaze was slightly infatuated as she looked at the youth whose childishness had almost completely faded away. In 3 months, the young man had changed a lot, but he seemed more mature and more charming. Big Brother Zhou, aren't you too engrossed in your practice? Ren Jiape sighed. In 3 months, I came more than 10 times, but I did not see you even once. Now, I finally understand why you have such power at such a young age. Of course, although she said this, Ren Jiape knew in her heart, most people, even if they worked harder than the young man before her, could not possibly have such power at his age. What time is it now? After 3 months of continuous practice, Zhou Donghuang could no longer remember what time it was, but according to Ren Jiape, it should be around the middle of December. Big Brother Zhou, today is the 19th of December 1228 of the Ziyun era. Yang Zishi said with a smile. Big Brother Zhou, since you have temporarily stopped practicing and left your room, you should go out for a walk, otherwise, even if you don't feel suffocated, Zishi will. Ren Jiape looked at Zhou Donghuang, and as she spoke, her eyes turned. There is a grand family gathering in the Chu royal city at the end of the month. Big Brother Zhou, will you and Zishi accompany me? I won't be going, you can bring Zishi. Zhou Donghuang shook his head. He had no interest in the grand family gathering. Big Brother Zhou, if I go with Zishi, what if we get bullied? Can you bear to see us get bullied? Ren Jiape pouted and said in a coquettish tone. Chapter 91. Early morning, December 31, 1228 of the Ziyun era. Chuxiu Inn. In the courtyard of one of the best guest rooms, a young man dressed in white was sitting in front of a stone table in the courtyard. His fingers were gently tapping on the table, and his gaze had become a little distant. Unknowingly, it's been more than a year since I've returned. December 12, 1227 of the Ziyun era, Zhou Donghuang had unexpectedly been reborn after 1,000 years and had embarked on a path to change his destiny. In the blink of an eye, more than a year had passed. In the past year, many things had happened. Thinking back, Zhou Donghuang still felt like he was dreaming. But all of this was not a dream. It's been more than 8 months since I left Yunfeng Prefecture. I wonder how Mother and Xiao Lu are doing. Thinking of Lin Lan and Yun Lu, Zhou Donghuang's eyes flashed with concern. I should have brought them along. He had not brought Lin Lan and Yun Lu with him because he did not know that he could attain level 7 or even level 8 in such a short period of time. After all, in a place like the Chu royal city, without sufficient ability and with his family by his side, he would not be able to do as he pleased. After a moment's thought, Zhou Donghuang got up from his seat and entered his room. He wrote a letter and handed it to Fu. Fu, find a courier station and find one that travels on Fergana horses. Send this letter as quickly as possible back to Yunfeng Prefecture and into the hands of the Lu family chief, Lu Qinghu. Yes, young master. Fu took the letter and left. In the Chu royal city, there were some larger courier stations that kept a group of messengers on Fergana horses. Of course, these messengers were very expensive. But Zhou Donghuang, who had 20 million liang of silver, did not lack for that little bit of money. After today, I will be considered an adult in this life. Returning to the stone table, Zhou Donghuang smiled as he remembered that today was the last day of the year 1228 of the Ziyun era. On the planet of Ziyun, 18 was considered an adult. Those below 18 were considered youths, but once they reached 18, they were considered to have officially entered the ranks of youth. Brother Zhou. Not long after Fu left, Ren Jiapei came looking for him. Where's Zishi? Today is the day of the gathering of the descendants of the grand families. I've come to invite you to go together. Today, Ren Jiapei was not dressed as casually as usual. She was dressed like young Zishi, and Zhou Donghuang was not used to seeing her like this. Sister Jiapei. Ren Jiapei's voice was not soft. As soon as she finished speaking, Yang Zishi heard her and walked out of the room. Today, Yang Zishi was wearing a snow-white dress with a white chiffon top. Together with her fair skin, she looked extremely holy. In addition to Yang Zishi's pretty face, this long dress made her look like a pure and holy saintess. She was aloof and inviolable. Wow, seeing Yang Zishi's outfit, Ren Jiapei's eyes lit up. Sister Zishi, you look really good today. Moreover, it suits your temperament. With your looks, even if you were dressed casually, you would have been able to outshine everyone else at today's gathering. With this outfit of yours, you're not giving those young ladies a chance. As Ren Jiapei spoke, it was as if she had completely forgotten that she was also one of the young ladies attending today's gathering. Yang Zishi's temperament was cold, and combined with her white outfit, she seemed even more aloof. Usually, in front of outsiders, Yang Zishi spoke little, or even did not speak at all. Only in front of Zhou Donghuang would she be like the girl next door. Moreover, it matches Brother Zhou's white outfit very well. As Ren Jiapei spoke, she looked at Zhou Donghuang with a teasing smile. Hearing Ren Jiapei's words, Yang Zishi's face blushed. Her lovely appearance made others want to rush forward, pull her into their arms, and kiss her fiercely. Brother Zhou, do I look good, in this outfit? Yang Zishi looked at Zhou Donghuang as she tidied up her white dress and asked nervously. Today, she dressed up like this, not for others to see, but mainly for the young man before her to see. A woman would dress for the man she liked. This was the current Yang Zishi. Yes, you look good. Zhou Donghuang smiled and nodded. How could he not see through the young lady's thoughts? However, up until now, his feelings for the young lady were more like that of a brother and sister, and he had not touched that chord in his heart. The last time he had come out of seclusion, he had wanted to explain his feelings to the young lady, but he did not know where to start, so he had gradually put it aside. After this gathering, when we're alone, I'll make it clear to this girl, lest she falls deeper and deeper. Zhou Donghuang sighed. He knew that some things, no matter how difficult it was to say, had to be said. But now, Zhou Donghuang did not know that the young lady had already fallen deeper and deeper. The young girl had already sunk so deep that she could not extricate herself from it. Let's go. In order to avoid the young lady's misunderstanding, Zhou Donghuang quickly withdrew his gaze from the young lady and got up from his seat. Zhou Donghuang intentionally avoided the young lady's gaze, and she could not help but smile bitterly. However, very quickly, her gaze became incomparably resolute. "All right. Let's go." Although Ren Jiape was usually carefree, she could tell that the atmosphere was not right now, and she hurriedly responded. She then walked over to the young lady, took her hand, and led the way out of the courtyard. Zhou Donghuang followed closely behind the two girls, his white robe fluttering like snow. There were many grand families in the Chu royal city, and the Yang family that Yang Zishi belonged to was only at the bottom of the grand families. Even the Ren family behind Ren Jiape, although they had 3 level 6 adepts, could only be considered a middle-class grand family. This was because the elite grand families usually had many level 7 adepts in their ranks. Even the superior grand families had at least one level 7 adept holding the fort. The gathering of the younger generation of the grand families was held once a year, and it was organized by the younger generations of the elite grand families in the Chu royal city, taking turns to hold it in their mansions. This year, the gathering was organized by the elite grand family, the Wei family. As a top grand family, the Wei family's mansion was far larger than the Yang family's and Ren family's mansions. Even when compared to the Tycoon Shi family's mansion, the Wei family was not that far off. Miss Ren. After Ren Jiape displayed her invitation at the main entrance of the Wei family mansion, she led Zhou Donghuang and Yang Zishi in. As for the few guards at the main entrance of the Wei family mansion, their gazes were still fixed on the beautiful young lady in a pure white dress. This seems to be the Yang Zishi who was expelled from the Yang family by the patriarch of the Yang family. No wonder the first young master of the Tycoon Shi family has taken a liking to her. She is indeed breathtakingly beautiful. When she grows up, I'm afraid there will be no woman in the Chu royal city who can compare to her. That Miss Ren is also extremely beautiful, and when they stand together, they look like a pair of beautiful sisters. The young man in white behind them is elegant and has an extraordinary aura. I wonder which family he is from. Since he did not display his invitation, he must not be from a grand family, or at least not from the main branch. A few of the collateral descendants of the Wei family recognized Yang Zishi from their conversation. As for Zhou Donghuang, he was an unfamiliar face to them. However, for today's gathering, every descendant of a grand family could only bring 2 people. Therefore, even though Yang Zishi was no longer a descendant of a grand family, and Zhou Donghuang did not show his invitation, they did not say anything. Miss Ren, please come in. After entering the Wei family mansion, someone led the way to the place where the gathering was being held, in the spacious backyard of the Wei family mansion. Zhou Donghuang followed the 2 girls into the backyard, and at a glance, he saw that there were tables arranged neatly all over the backyard, filled with all sorts of food and drinks, very much like a buffet on earth. Oh! Isn't this Miss Ren? The moment Zhou Donghuang and the other 2 arrived, a girl in a long green dress walked up to them with a servant girl. She looked at Miss Ren mockingly. Miss Ren, I heard that after you took in Yang Zishi, you caused the Ren family to lose a lot of business with the Shi family. The girl in the green dress had delicate features, but compared to Ren Jiape and Yang Zishi, she was a far cry. Now that she had appeared, she could not stop chattering and had the potential to be a shrew. Zhou Donghuang had noticed that this girl in the green dress, who was obviously ignoring Yang Zishi, had looked at Yang Zishi with jealousy after they had appeared. Zheng Qiuhe. Ren Jiape looked at the girl in the green dress and laughed coldly. If I remember correctly, Sister Zishi gave you quite a lot of makeup and helped you a lot, right? Before Sister Zishi was chased out of the Yang family, you treated her like a sister, but after she was chased out of the Yang family, you firmly refused to let her in. I, Ren Jiape, do not want to be associated with an ungrateful person like you. Get lost. The girl in the green dress was called Zheng Qiuhe, and she was the 3rd mistress of the Grand Zheng family. The Zheng family? Zhou Donghuang glanced at Zheng Qiuhe. He remembered very clearly that when Yang Zishi was chased out of the Yang family, the first place he went to was the Zheng family. It seemed that he had gone to look for Zheng Qiuhe. Like the Yang family, the Zheng family was only at the bottom of the grand families. Because of this, seeing Ren Jiepei's domineering attitude, Zheng Qiuha's expression turned ugly, but she did not dare to block Ren Jiepei's way and obediently moved to the side. The Ren family was much stronger than the Zheng family. Third mistress, this first mistress of the Ren family is so stubborn, sooner or later she will be dealt with by the young master of the Shi family, you don't have to be angry with her. The servant girl behind Zheng Qiuha comforted her softly. Humph. I'll wait to see the day when Ren Jiepei is unlucky. Chapter 92. The circle of the grand families of the Chu royal city was not big, but it was not small either. And the descendants of the grand families all had their own circles. For example, Yang Zishi had been a descendant of the bottom of the Grand Yang family, and those who were close to her, such as the third young mistress of the Zheng family, Zheng Qiuha, were also from the bottom of the grand families. Ren Jiepei's circle consisted of the descendants of the middle grand families, and was on a higher level than Yang Zishi's circle. Sister Jiepei, this person beside you must be Lady Zishi? Sure enough, hearing people by their reputations is not as good as meeting them in person. She is indeed a peerless beauty. A young man in green clothes, about 20 years of age, glanced at the girl beside Ren Jiepei with some amazement, but quickly withdrew his gaze. Although a beauty was good, she was not someone he could lay his hands on. This beautiful girl was the woman that the first young master of the Tycoon Shi family, Shi Yu, had taken a fancy to. This was no secret in the Chu royal city. Ren Jiepei nodded and introduced him to the girl. Sister Zishi, this is the second young master of the Hu family, Hu Qing. The girl glanced at Hu Qing and nodded lightly in greeting. Her cool demeanor was like the first bloom of a lotus, keeping people at arm's length. And this is? At the same time, Hu Qing's gaze fell on the youth in white beside the two girls, his eyes flashing with curiosity. He is my big brother Zhou, not someone from our circle. When Ren Jiepei said the three words big brother Zhou, her tone was filled with respect. Zhou? At the same time, Hu Qing noticed that when the girl beside Ren Jiepei looked at the youth, the coldness in her eyes disappeared and was replaced by gentleness, as if she was looking at her lover. Brother, may I have a word with you? Hu Qing's eyes flashed as he asked Zhou Donghuang with a smile. Zhou Donghuang was stunned at first, then nodded lightly and walked to the side, with Hu Qing following. Brother. Hu Qing walked to Zhou Donghuang's side and said directly, as far as I know, in the Chu royal city, or even in the country of Yunyang, there is no grand family with the surname Zhou. I advise you to stay away from Yang Zishi. She's the woman that the young master of the Tycoon Shi family, Shi Yu, has taken a liking to. If he finds out that Yang Zishi has feelings for you, he won't let you off. The Hu family and the Ren family have been friends for generations. I see Jiepei as my own sister. Since you are her friend, I need to remind you. Hu Qing reminded. You asked me to step aside just to talk to me about this? Zhou Donghuang was taken aback at first, and then he smiled lightly. Thank you for the reminder, however, whether Shi Yu lets me off or not, I don't care. Shi Yu? The young master of the Tycoon Shi family? If he remembered correctly, Shi Yu's father, Shi Hao, had died at his hands 3 months ago. At that time, the level 8 adept of the Shi family had been present as well, and he had seen him kill Shi Hao with his own eyes, but he had not dared to make a sound. However, hearing Hu Qing's words, Zhou Donghuang could not help but laugh bitterly to himself. Now, even someone who had just met him and Yang Zishi for the first time could tell that Yang Zishi had feelings for him. Brother, I've said all that needs to be said, what you do next is up to you. Hu Qing shook his head, feeling that the young man before him was ignorant. In his opinion, he had already done his best to warn Zhou Donghuang on account of Ren Jiepei. If Zhou Donghuang wanted to die, there was nothing he could do. If Sister Jiepei did not have the Ren family behind her, her rash act of sheltering Yang Zishi 3 months ago would have been enough to doom her. Even so, the Ren family has lost all opportunities to work with the Shi family. This young man has no background, and he still dares to flirt with Yang Zishi. He's seeking his own death. As time passed, the backyard of the Wei family household, as the gathering place for the descendants of the grand families, became increasingly lively. When Zhou Donghuang and the other two arrived, there were only a few descendants of the grand families present. About an hour later, there were already more than 10 descendants of the grand families present. Among them, there were also the daughters of the lowest grand families who had rejected Yang Zishi after she had been chased out of the Yang family. However, not every daughter of the grand families who had been close to Yang Zishi in the past was like Xiaofan. There were one or two who took the initiative to approach Yang Zishi and apologize to her, at the same time explaining their difficulties. Of course, there were even more like Xiaofan, who completely ignored Yang Zishi, as if they had never had any relationship with her. If it had been the Yang Zishi of the past, she might have been affected by this. However, after 3 months, her heart was as calm as ever, because she had long ago thrown all of this to the back of her mind and did not care. Those daughters of the grand families who had been close to her in the past, whether they apologized or ignored her, were no longer important to her. Now, all she cared about was the young man in white who was standing in front of a table filled with fruits not far away, eating some fruits. "Sister Jiape, do what you need to do, I'll go look for Brother Zhou." After saying goodbye to Ren Jiape, the young girl walked over to the young man standing not far away. As the young girl walked over, Zhou Donghuang, who had been invisible in the eyes of the onlookers, broke into a smile and immediately became the center of attention. "Who is that?" Earlier, other than Ren Jiape, Yang Zishi was cold to everyone else. But now, she's smiling in front of this young man? This young man in white, who is he? Among the grand families of the Chu royal city, is there such a person? The attention of the descendants of the grand families all fell on Zhou Donghuang, all of them curious about his identity. However, after a while, no one recognized this young man in white. It was as if the young man in white had appeared out of thin air. This Zhou Donghuang is out of luck. Seeing Yang Zishi approach and Zhou Donghuang become the center of attention, the second young master of the Hu family, Hu Qing, shook his head and sighed. In his opinion, it would be fine if this Zhou Donghuang did not attract attention. Once he attracted attention, it would undoubtedly be a disaster for him. "Brother Hu Qing, do you know him?" Hu Qing was talking to a young man of about 18 or 19 years old. When he saw Hu Qing looking at the white-robed youth and sighing, he asked curiously. "Not really, but he is Jiape's friend, and I spoke to him just now." Hu Qing shook his head. "Who is he?" Looking at Yang Zishi, it is obvious that she is in love with him. The youth asked as he shook his head. If the first young master of the Shi family, Shi Yu, were to see this, he would probably explode in anger. His surname is Zhou, what kind of background could he have? Hu Qing continued to shake his head. Surname Zhou? The youth frowned slightly as he racked his brains. In the country of Yunyang, from the imperial court to the various royal residences, and even the tycoon families and grand families, there did not seem to be a family with the surname Zhou. No background, why is he so close to Yang Zishi? When the youth looked at Zhou Donghuang again, he shook his head slightly, a look of pity in his eyes. No background, and yet he was so close to Yang Zishi, whom the first young master of the Shi family, Shi Yu, regarded as his exclusive property. Was this not courting death? "Zishi, this apple is not bad, do you want one?" Zhou Donghuang nibbled on the apple in his hand as if there was no one else around. As he chewed on the apple, he smiled and asked the young girl who was walking over. "Sure." The young girl's smile was like a flower, and it was as if she had transformed from a cold goddess to a girl next door in an instant, stunning the group of grand family youths. "Here." Zhou Donghuang picked up an apple from the fruit platter on the table and handed it to the young girl. The young girl reached out to take it and slowly chewed on it. The scene seemed to freeze at this moment. A young girl dressed in pure white and a young man dressed in robes whiter than snow stood facing each other, each holding an apple in his hand and nibbling on it. All the surrounding gazes seemed to be completely ignored by the two of them. At this moment, it was as if there were only the two of them left in the world. "Brother Wei, who is this young man?" In a corner where the elite grand family youths were gathered, a handsome young man dressed in a silver robe asked the young man beside him curiously. The young man was handsome, with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He was dressed like a scholar in white, and he held a folding fan in his hand. He was the host of the day, the first young master of the elite Wei family, Wei Hongtao. "I don't know him." Faced with the silver-robed youth's question, Wei Hongtao stopped tapping the folding fan in his hand and shook his head. "You don't know him? Then how did he get in?" The silver-robed youth was stunned. "I'll find someone to ask." Very quickly, Wei Hongtao called over the Wei family youths who were in charge of today's gathering. From them, he found out that the young man dressed in white had entered with Ren Jiape, the first young mistress of the Ren family. "He came with Ren Jiape? His surname is Zhou?" The silver-robed youth raised his eyebrows. "It seems that he is not a member of a grand family, at least, he is not a member of a grand family or above." As soon as he finished speaking, his eyes lit up again. "Zhang Yongshan of the Zhang family has gone over to that young man. Usually, he likes to get close to Shiryu and is always at his beck and call. Today, it seems that he wants to stand up for Shiryu." Under the gaze of the group of grand family youths, a young man of about 20 years of age with a medium build walked towards Zhou Donghuang. "Young man, if you don't want to die, you'd better stay away from my sister-in-law." The young man walked up to Zhou Donghuang and stared coldly at him, threatening him in a cold voice. "Sister-in-law?" Zhou Donghuang was stunned. "She is my sister-in-law." The young man looked at Zhou Donghuang and pointed at the young girl in front of him. "Zhang Yongshan, don't talk nonsense." Chapter 93. Yang Zishi, it is your good fortune that brother Shiryu has taken a liking to you. Don't be so ungrateful. Zhang Yongshan stared at Yang Zishi with a dark expression and said coldly, "I have already asked clearly, this kid in front of you is not from a grand family or above. What's so good about him that you would rather choose him than brother Shiryu?" Zhang Yongshan's voice became even colder as he spoke. "Shiryu?" Yang Zishi shook her head, and when her gaze returned to the youth, she revealed a look of infatuation. "How can he compare to my big brother Zhou?" The young girl's actions were a public display of her affection for Zhou Donghuang. She had completely let go of her last shred of feminine restraint. Immediately, there was an uproar. "Sister Zishi." Although Ren Jiape had expected that the young girl would one day confess to big brother Zhou, she had never imagined that the day would come so soon. At that moment, she felt empty in her heart, and a look of disappointment involuntarily floated onto her face. Yang Zishi, has she really fallen for this youth? This youth's surname is Zhou. In the country of Yunyang, there is no grand family with the surname Zhou. This means that he is at most a preeminent family disciple. Yang Zishi would rather be with a preeminent family disciple than with a tycoon family's first young master, Shiryu. If Shiryu were here, he would probably want to kill this youth. Although the group of grand family disciples present had felt that Yang Zishi treated the youth in white differently and had guessed that she might have fallen for him, it was just a guess. Now, hearing Yang Zishi's words, they were completely certain. Yang Zishi really did like this youth. At this moment, all the daughters of the grand families looked at Zhou Donghuang with pity. Even the young masters of the grand families looked at Zhou Donghuang without a shred of jealousy, only pity and schadenfreude. This kid is dead meat. In the distance, a young man from a grand clan sneered. He turned around and left the Wei clan's back courtyard. After leaving the Wei clan's mansion, he mounted his Fergana horse and galloped towards the Shi clan's mansion. When cousin Shiryu arrives, I'll see how he dies. In the backyard of the Wei family household, Zhang Yongshan was first stunned when he heard the young girl's words, but quickly recovered. Bitch! I'll help brother sure you teach you a lesson right now. Zhang Yongshan glared at the young girl and roared. His body suddenly moved towards the young girl, then he raised his hand and swung it towards the young girl's face. Although the young girl's level of practice was close to attaining level 2 of Qi gathering, she was still too slow to react to Zhang Yongshan, who was already a level 3 adept. By the time she reacted, Zhang Yongshan's hand was only a few inches away from her face. She could even feel a gust of wind blowing against her face. That was the wind brought up by Zhang Yongshan's hand. However, even so, the young lady's expression did not change at all. She was as calm as before because the young man she admired was by her side. The youth gave her an absolute sense of security. Pa! The crisp sound of a slap that everyone expected did not ring out. What entered their ears was a soft sound. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, just as Zhang Yongshan's hand was about to touch the young girl's beautiful face, his wrist was grabbed by a hand that shot out like lightning. This hand that had shot out like lightning was like a pair of iron pincers, forcefully clamping down on Zhang Yongshan's hand so that Zhang Yongshan's hand could no longer move forward. So fast. First young master Wei Hongtao of the Wei family, as well as the juniors of the elite families, had a look of shock in their eyes. The speed of the youth's attack was as fast as lightning, and even their attention could not keep up with the speed of the youth's attack. Of course, to them, this was because they had not been paying attention to the youth from the beginning. Otherwise, their attention would not have been unable to keep up with the speed of the youth's attack. But even so, they still felt that the youth was not weak, at least not weaker than Zhang Yongshan. If the youth's ability was weaker than Zhang Yongshan's, it would be impossible for him to do this. So fast. This youth's ability is actually not weaker than Zhang Yongshan's? How is that possible? He looks like he is not of age yet, at most 17 years old. The scene before them caused the group of Grand Family juniors to gasp in shock. Only Ren Jiape was not surprised, because she knew how frightening her big brother Zhou was. Just as everyone was gasping in shock. Crack! Without any warning, the crisp sound of a bone breaking suddenly rang out, causing everyone's scalp to go numb. Ah! The shrill scream of a pig being slaughtered was followed closely by the sound of a bone breaking. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the youth in snow-white clothes with a calm expression casually twisted Zhang Yongshan's hand into two, directly breaking Zhang Yongshan's hand. So ruthless. Seeing this scene, everyone's pupils constricted, and their hearts trembled. They were all frightened by the youth's ruthlessness. You're not frightened, are you? As the youth in question, after casually pushing Zhang Yongshan down, he asked the young girl with a smile. His calm demeanor caused everyone to involuntarily feel a chill in their hearts. One moment, he had broken someone's arm, and the next, he was talking and laughing as if nothing had happened. Who was this young man? With big brother Zhou here, Zishi has nothing to fear. The young girl smiled sweetly at the youth, her eyes filled with tenderness that seemed capable of melting anything. Sir, isn't this too much? Just as everyone was shocked by Zhou Donghuang's methods, a low voice rang out. Following that, a young man dressed like a scholar in white walked out, holding a folding fan in his hand. It's the first young master of the Wei family, Wei Hongtao. Wei Hongtao is today's host. This youth in white, acting so violently at his gathering, is no different from slapping him and the Wei family in the face. However, this youth in white is really powerful, even stronger than Zhang Yongshan, and Zhang Yongshan has just attained level 3 of Qi gathering. He is at least an elite among level 3 adepts, otherwise, he would not have the ability to injure Zhang Yongshan to this extent. So what? This first young master of the Wei family is an elite among level 4 adepts, wouldn't it be easy to deal with him? As Wei Hongtao walked out, the gazes of all the scions of the grand families turned to him. Wei Hongtao, the first young master of the elite Grand Wei family, the first of the younger generation of the grand families of the Chu royal city. As long as he was in the circle of the grand families, no matter where he went, Wei Hongtao would be the center of attention. As Wei Hongtao walked out, most of the young ladies of the grand families, including third young mistress Zheng Qiuhe of the Zheng family, looked at Wei Hongtao with infatuation. This was the man they dreamed of conquering. Very quickly, Wei Hongtao came to Zhang Yongshan's side, frowning slightly as he looked at Zhang Yongshan, who was rolling on the ground in pain, before turning his gaze to the youth in white. "Sir, didn't you hear what I said? Isn't this too much?" Wei Hongtao spoke again, this time with a slightly heavier tone. His voice was extremely deep, as if giving off an invisible pressure. However, the youth still ignored him, as if completely ignoring him. Crazy. This youth is crazy. He dares to ignore first young Master Wei like this? Does he think that first young Master Wei is someone like Zhang Yongshan? Zhang Yongshan is only the young master of the lowest grand family. And this first young Master Wei is the first young master of an elite grand family. One is heaven, the other earth. Who is this youth? Isn't he too arrogant? He even ignores first young Master Wei's words. The scions of the grand families stared at the youth as if they had seen a ghost. They could not understand how this youth could be so daring. Just as Wei Hongtao's expression darkened further, Ren Jiape walked up. "Big brother Wei. Sister Jiape, I know that he was brought here by you. However, his actions today were a little overboard. He must give me and the Wei family an explanation," Wei Hongtao said in a low voice. "Even if you plead on his behalf today, it will be useless." Ren Jiape smiled bitterly. Did this Wei Hongtao think that she had stepped forward to plead on Big Brother Zhou's behalf? She had stepped forward only because the Wei family and the Ren family had a very close working relationship. If possible, she did not want the Wei family to provoke her big brother Zhou. Even the Tycoon Shi family did not dare to have any thoughts of revenge when their patriarch had been killed by her big brother Zhou. What was a mere Grand Wei family to them? "Zishi, this place doesn't feel interesting, why don't we go out for a walk?" The youth's white robes fluttered in the wind as he asked the young girl with a smile. The young girl nodded lightly and responded obediently. "You want to leave?" A cold light flashed in Wei Hongtao's eyes. He closed the fan in his hand and moved slightly, preparing to make the youth stay. At that instant, a voice could be heard all of a sudden. "Kid! My big brother has already gone to find cousin Shiryu. If you stay here obediently and wait for cousin Shiryu to come, you might be able to keep your life. If you dare to leave, given cousin Shiryu's temper, you will die without a doubt." After the voice sounded, a figure slowly walked out. It was a youth dressed in a gray and white robe. It's the young master of the Grand Tan family, Tan Li. Although the Tan family is only a mid-level grand family, because they are in-laws with the Shi family, their status in the Chu royal city is no less than that of the elite grand families. The circle of the grand families in the Chu royal city was only so big, and everyone present recognized Tan Li as the young master of the Tan family. "Big brother Wei, leave this matter to cousin Shiryu to settle personally." Tan Li looked at Wei Hongtao. "All right." Chapter 94. Shiryu? Hearing Tan Li's words, Zhou Donghuang smiled faintly. Even if someone really went to inform Shiryu, would he dare to come? "Zishi, let's go." Zhou Donghuang bade farewell to the young girl, before leading her out of the backyard of the Shi family mansion. No matter how Tan Li tried to use the Tycoon Shi family's influence to threaten them, the golden couple didn't even look at him from start to finish. And Tan Li naturally did not dare to go forward to stop them. Even Zhang Yongshan, who was much stronger than him, had been beaten to such a state. If he went forward rashly, given the other party's vicious nature, he was worried that he would follow in Zhang Yongshan's footsteps. Seeing the two of them leave, Wei Hongtao's gaze turned cold. He wanted to stop them, but Ren Jiape stopped him in time. "Big brother Wei, you should first see if Shiryu dares to come today before considering whether to make an enemy out of Big Brother Zhou. Ren Jiape walked up to Wei Hongtao and said softly, before chasing after the young couple. Big Brother Zhou, Sister Zishi, wait for me. Because of Ren Jiape's words, Wei Hongtao did not stop the two of them like the others thought he would. From what Sister Jiape said, Shiryu does not dare to come. As the first young master of the Wei family and the first of the younger generation of the grand families of the Chu royal city, Wei Hongtao was naturally not a fool. Of everyone present, besides the young man in white, he knew everything about them. Shiryu did not dare to come because of the grand scions present, not because of him, but because of the young man in white. If he can really make Shiryu afraid to come over, then, who exactly is he? Or perhaps Sister Jiape deliberately deceived me in order to save him? Now, these two voices kept echoing in Yu Hongtao's mind. Let's wait for a while and see if Shiryu will come. Wei Hongtao thought to himself. Big Brother Wei, why didn't you stop him? Yes, Big Brother Wei, that kid's actions today are a slap in the face to you and the Wei family. If you let him go just like that, you and the Wei family will lose face. Many disciples of the grand families looked at Wei Hongtao in confusion. They did not know why Wei Hongtao did not stop the youth. Even Tanli frowned slightly and looked at Wei Hongtao. Big Brother Wei, why did you let him leave just like that? Upon hearing Tanli's words, Wei Hongtao was astonished. Tanli, didn't you just ask me to hand this matter over to your cousin Shiryu to handle personally? Since you've said so, I naturally have to give Shiryu face. Could it be that, if he leaves, Shiryu won't be able to do anything to him? The great young master of the Tycoon Shi family shouldn't be unable to find such a young man, right? Wei Hongtao asked. Of course not. Tan Li's gaze turned cold as he said in a frosty voice, if he dares to leave today, given my cousin Shiryu's temper, he's dead meat. At the same time, upon hearing Wei Hongtao's words, the scions of the grand families present came to a sudden realization. So it turns out that Big Brother Wei didn't keep that youth because of Shiryu. Didn't I say that if Big Brother Wei wanted to keep that brat, how could he just swagger away like that? Hearing the whispers of the crowd, Wei Hongtao smiled faintly, knowing that he and the Wei family's reputation had been preserved. After instructing a Wei family scion to send Wu Yongshan back to the Wu family, Wei Hongtao smiled at the crowd and said, it's rare for everyone to gather together, let's continue chatting. Don't let this little episode spoil your mood. The Shi family mansion. Tan Ji, the first young master of the Grand Tan family, and the nephew of the second master of the Shi family, Shi Yan's wife, naturally entered the Shi family mansion unimpeded. Even the Shi family members who saw him along the way would greet him warmly and respectfully. Cousin Shiryu. Tan Ji went straight to the Shi family's first young master, Shiryu, and told him everything that had happened in the Wei family mansion's back courtyard in full detail. Cousin Shiryu, that brat is too savage, as the saying goes, look at the master before beating the dog. You must not let him off for humiliating Wu Yongshan like that. Tan Ji did not notice Shiryu's increasingly ugly expression as he continued to speak angrily. Seeing that Tan Ji was about to continue speaking, Shiryu shouted coldly, enough. Cousin Shiryu? Tan Ji finally noticed that something was wrong with Shiryu's expression. What's wrong with you? Shiryu took a deep breath and said in a low voice, Cousin Tan Ji, don't go back to the Wei family mansion. I hope Tanli is not blind enough to provoke that youth. Otherwise, his death will be in vain. As he said this, Shiryu's eyes were filled with fear. After more than 3 months, hearing about that youth again, Shiryu could not help but recall the scene of his father, Shi Hao, being killed by that youth. Even his grandfather, the strongest in the Shi family and a level 8 adept, was no match for that youth. Hiss, as soon as Shiryu finished speaking, Tan Ji's expression changed drastically. At the same time, he subconsciously sucked in a breath of cold air. Cousin Shiryu, that young man, what is his background? Cousin Tan Ji, there are some things that I can't tell you without my grandfather's permission. Shiryu looked at Tanji sternly and said in a low voice, just remember, don't go back to the Wei family mansion today. Go back to the Tan family and wait for Tanli to return. If Tanli provokes that youth and dies in the Wei family mansion, he can only blame himself. Once news of Tanli's death spreads, tell your father, even my grandfather would not dare to offend that youth. Your father will understand when he hears this. After Shiryu finished speaking, he let out a long sigh and turned around to return to his room, leaving Tanji with a lonely silhouette. Whoosh! Tanji's expression changed again as soon as he heard Shiryu's words. He knew his cousin Shiryu's character very well, and he was not one to be taken advantage of, but today, at the mention of that youth, his cousin was like a mouse seeing a cat. More importantly, cousin Shiryu said that even the Grand Patriarch of the Shi family would not dare to offend that youth. The Grand Patriarch of the Shi family was someone who had led the Shi family to become a tycoon family 5 years ago, and he was a level 8 adept. If not for the ban from the imperial court of Yunyang country, the power of the Grand Patriarch of the Shi family could easily wipe out the entire Tan family. On the way back to the Tan family mansion, Tanji prayed in his heart, I hope Shaoli didn't provoke that young man. Even if he did, I hope that the young man won't hold it against Shaoli. Now, Tanji finally realized the seriousness of the matter. At the same time, he regretted bringing his third brother Tanli to the grand gathering organized by the Wei family. If he had not gone, his third brother Tanli would not have been in such danger. But, that youth, who is he? Despite the lingering fear in his heart, Tanji's heart was still filled with curiosity. Miss Ren, please return to the Ren family first. After walking out of the main door of the Wei family mansion, he said to Ren Jiape, I have something to say to Zishi alone. All right. Ren Jiape nodded, and after bidding farewell to the young girl beside Zhou Donghuang, she turned and walked in the direction of the Ren family mansion. As she turned around, Ren Jiape's lips curled into a bitter smile. Now, beside big brother Zhou and sister Zishi, had she become so unnecessary? Zishi. After Ren Jiape left, Zhou Donghuang and the young girl walked side by side for a while, and he took a deep breath before speaking. Big brother Zhou, I'm listening. The young girl said softly. Zishi, actually, Zhou Donghuang did not know how to continue. Now, if he had a choice, he would rather fight a petty consummation adept of the Qi gathering than express his feelings to the young girl. Big brother Zhou, if you have anything to say, just say it, you don't have to worry about anything with me. The smile on the young girl's face was still there, and her understanding demeanor was pitiful. Zishi. Zhou Donghuang stopped abruptly and looked at the young girl who had stopped as well. With a serious expression, he said, I know your feelings. It's just that, towards you, I feel, for the time being, I only see you as a sister, and not. At this point, Zhou Donghuang could not go on. Big brother Zhou, is that all you wanted to say to me? The young girl asked with a slight smile. Seeing that the young girl's expression did not change in her smile, Zhou Donghuang was stunned for a moment before nodding. Yes, big brother Zhou, Zishi understands. The young girl nodded. Furthermore, you also said, it's only for the time being. This time, it was Zhou Donghuang's turn to be stunned. This seemed to be very different from what he had imagined. Shouldn't a young girl be sad? Big brother Zhou, I'm a little tired. I want to go back and rest. The two of them walked in silence for a while, and the young girl spoke first. All right. Zhou Donghuang nodded and returned to the inn with the young girl. When they reached the courtyard of the guest house, the young girl went straight to her room. Just as Zhou Donghuang heaved a sigh of relief, his amazing hearing, which had been baptized by the Lord of the Four Supremes, vaguely heard the sound of sobbing coming from the young girl's room. Although the young girl had purposely lowered her voice, with his current hearing, he could still hear it clearly. Perhaps the young girl did not even know that he could hear her sobbing. So, her behavior just now was all an act for me to see. Zhou Donghuang smiled bitterly and shook his head. What an understanding girl. I'd better go out for a walk. The young girl's sobbing made Zhou Donghuang's heart ache, but he was also helpless. In the end, he could only choose to temporarily escape, because he really did not know what to do. He could not possibly force himself to be together with the young girl, could he? Chapter 95. Although Zhou Donghuang had stood at the pinnacle of the universe in his previous life, he was only strong in martial arts and alchemy. He could be said to be a complete idiot when it came to relationships between a man and a woman. If I had known this would happen in my previous life, I would have chosen one of the geniuses sent to me by the great families and supreme sects of the star domain to develop my relationship with. That way, I wouldn't have to be so passive in this situation. Zhou Donghuang was still sighing as he walked out of Chuxiu Inn. Staying in the courtyard, listening to the young girl's sobbing made him feel bad, so he decided to go out for a walk. As he strolled along the way, Zhou Donghuang was a little distracted. It wasn't until a voice entered his ears that he came back to his senses. Have you heard? Yesterday, someone discovered that the spirit energy in the lost forest suddenly became abnormal. It is said that this is either the birth of a spirit fruit or the birth of a Khanate stage demon. The voice came from a carriage, and it was the voice of a middle-aged man. Of course, it was also because Zhou Donghuang's hearing was extraordinary, or he would not have heard the conversation in the carriage. It can't be a Khanate stage demon. Another voice came to Zhou Donghuang's ears. In the lost forest, the strongest are the two golden-crowned eagles, and those two golden-crowned eagles are only petty consummation of the gathered qi, not even great consummation of the gathered qi. How can they break through and become a Khanate stage demon? This morning, our Ouyang family sent 2 level 9 elders to the lost forest to investigate. It is said that the Chu royal family also sent people. Did the Lu family make any moves? I just heard this news from you. However, this morning, I did see the head elder and third elder of the Lu family leave the family in a hurry. Then they must have gone to the lost forest. Who cares, anyway, even if there is any treasure, it will not be ours. As the carriage moved further away, the voices in Zhou Donghuang's ears grew softer. Ouyang family? Lu family? As far as Zhou Donghuang knew, both the Ouyang family and the Lu family were elite tycoon families with many level 9 adepts in the Chu royal city, and were not comparable to the bottom tycoon families like the Shi family. Zhou Donghuang was completely attracted by the main point of their discussion. The lost forest? Abnormal spiritual energy? The lost forest was located to the north of the Chu royal city, and it was a vast forest. Not only were there many ferocious beasts, but there were even some demons that were gifted and had the ability to cultivate. The demons in the lost forest ranged from level 1 of Qi gathering to petty consummation of Qi gathering, but there were only 2 petty consummation demons, the masters of the lost forest, the 2 golden-crowned eagles. Every part of a demonic beast was a treasure. The higher the cultivation of a demonic beast, the more valuable certain parts of its body. There was a saying on Earth, where there was business, there was killing. It was the same on the Ziyun planet. Because certain parts of the demon beasts were in high demand on the market, many martial adepts took the risk and entered the lost forest to hunt the demon beasts. Some succeeded in killing the demon beasts and made a fortune, while others failed and died in the lost forest. All in all, the lost forest was a very dangerous place. Especially in the depths of the lost forest, the territory of the 2 petty consummation demons, the golden-crowned eagles. Even the most powerful martial adepts of the Chu royal household did not dare to enter lightly. There must be a reason for the abnormal spiritual energy. The possibility of a Khanate stage demon appearing can be ruled out. It must be the birth of a spirit fruit. At this thought, Zhou Donghuang's eyes lit up. A spirit fruit that could cause the spiritual energy in the lost forest to be abnormal must be at least of the same level as the 10,000-year red fruit, and to him now, it was definitely a treasure. I don't want to return to the inn for now, and since I have nothing better to do, I'll go take a look. The lost forest was only 100 miles from the Chu royal city, and with Zhou Donghuang's current speed, it only took him about an hour to reach it. This was even when Zhou Donghuang did not travel at full speed, as if he were on a sightseeing tour. Otherwise, it would not have taken him so long. The lost forest was a dense forest, and the environment inside was almost the same. After entering, if one did not mark the path, it was easy to get lost. The spiritual energy here is starting to become abnormal. Not long after entering the lost forest, Zhou Donghuang felt the abnormality of the spiritual energy in the air. Compared to the average person, he was more sensitive to the abnormality of the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy seems to be flowing into the depths of the lost forest. It looks like there really is a spirit fruit there. Zhou Donghuang's eyes lit up, and with a flash of his body, he moved like a bolt of lightning towards the depths of the lost forest. Zhou Donghuang's level of practice was now at level 8 of the gathered qi, and his qi alone was enough to give him the strength of 8 bulls. Coupled with his extreme muscle strength and the use of second-grade swiftness techniques, no one in the country of Yunyang below the level of petty consummation of the qi gathering could match his speed. Of course, Zhou Donghuang could also use first-grade swiftness techniques, but first-grade swiftness techniques consumed too much energy and were not suitable for him to use for a long period of time. Although second-grade swiftness techniques were not as good as first-grade swiftness techniques, he could use them for a long period of time, and they were more efficient. Whoosh! 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 Everywhere Zhou Donghuang passed, it was as if a gust of wind had swept past. The flowers and grass withered, the trees shook, and the wild beasts scurried away in fear. Even the ordinary demons gave way. This was because Zhou Donghuang's speed was too fast, and he was like a bolt of lightning flitting through the lost forest. Neither wild beasts nor demons dared to approach him. Along the way, Zhou Donghuang also saw many adepts hunting wild beasts and demons. However, his speed was so fast that even if the adept sensed the movement of his figure passing by the time their attention had shifted, he had already disappeared from their line of sight. I'm almost there. After about 15 minutes, Zhou Donghuang had entered the depths of the lost forest. There were very few demons here, and he only saw 1 or 2 every once in a while, and they were extremely strong, at least as strong as an ordinary level 8 adept. At the same time, Zhou Donghuang could sense that he was about to reach the source of the spirit in the lost forest. Zhou Donghuang's eyes were filled with anticipation. In the deepest part of the lost forest, there was a lake so clear that one could see the bottom. From afar, it looked like a piece of jade embedded in the ground. And now, on one side of the lake, spirit was flowing endlessly into a beautiful figure sitting cross-legged on the side of the lake. It was a woman in a light green dress. She looked to be in her early 20s. Her eyebrows were like a painting, her nose was high, and her lips were bright red. She had a beautiful face that could topple cities, and she exuded a cold aura. The woman's long hair was like a waterfall, and she wore a light green hairband. Her long hair flowed freely behind her, moving without any wind. Whoosh! 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 Now, a spirit vortex had formed above the woman's head, and all the spirit in the lost forest was flowing endlessly into the vortex, then into the woman's body. The woman's cold face was flushed from time to time, and from time to time, the blush faded away. If one looked closely, one could see that, not only her face, but her fair hands and legs also looked the same. It was as if she had been poisoned, and she was suppressing the poison in her body. On one side of the lake, there were 2 large trees leaning against each other, and there was a huge nest on each tree, like a giant bird's nest. Around the lake, a white fog rose, completely isolating the lake from the outside world. Not only did the white fog block the vision of the outside world, but the wild mosquitoes and flies that got close to the white fog would also be strangled to death by the white light blades that suddenly appeared in the white fog. There was a terrifying murderous intent hidden in the white fog. The rising white fog was like a huge bell, enveloping the lake and the woman in front of it, as well as the two trees, isolating them from the outside world. Whoosh! Whoosh! Outside the white fog, two giant eagles with golden crowns were circling the white fog. Every time they rushed towards the white fog, they were forced back by the white light that flashed out of the white fog. Second brother, give up. One of the goshawks with a darker golden crown spoke to the other goshawk with a lighter golden crown in the demon beast's language. Big brother, could this be the legendary formation? The latter asked. Isn't it obvious? The former sighed. But, isn't a formation something that only the legendary primal core stage can set up? The latter asked again. I suspect that the human girl who stole our territory is a primal core stage martial artist. The former said. It can't be. That human girl looks to be in her early 20s, how could she be a primal core stage martial artist at this age? Don't forget, when she first arrived yesterday, she sent us flying with a wave of her hand. If she had not intended to kill us, we would not have survived. If she really is a legendary martial artist who has entered the primal core stage, why would she want to steal the territory of small demons like us? Looking at her yesterday, she must have been injured. Perhaps she is just using us to recuperate, and will leave when she recovers. I hope so. Obviously, these two giant eagles with golden crowns were the masters of the Lost Forest, two famous demons who had attained the petty consummation stage of the Qi gathering. The imperial court of Yunyang had once sent a great consummation adept of the Qi gathering to kill these two demons, but to no avail, as the eagles had the advantage of flying. Chapter 96. Boom! Kaboom! The ground trembled as a series of earth-shattering noises rang out, causing Zhou Donghuang, who was rapidly advancing, to involuntarily stop in his tracks as his gaze landed in front of him. With just a glance, Zhou Donghuang saw a huge figure behind a bamboo forest. With a single charge, it was as if it had transformed into a moving mountain peak, knocking three figures into the air. This is a grizzly bear? As Zhou Donghuang focused, he saw the huge figure clearly. It was a huge black bear with long fangs and a tuft of white fur on its forehead. Immediately, Zhou Donghuang's eyes lit up. The grizzly bear's gallbladder was a very precious herb, and in his hands, he could even turn it into an elixir that could temporarily increase the strength of his qi. Furthermore, the increase in the strength of his qi would be more than 500 kilograms. Most importantly, there would be no side effects. Just as Zhou Donghuang was staring at the grizzly bear, the three people who had been sent flying by the grizzly bear had looks of despair in their eyes. Patriarch, second elder, and I will hold him back. Quickly, run. Seeing the grizzly bear striding towards them again, picking up speed and about to charge again, the old man in green said to the middle-aged man as he wiped the blood from his mouth. Patriarch, leave quickly. The other old man in blue stepped forward and blocked the middle-aged man. Although his injured body was still trembling, he stood straight like an immovable wall. If you want to leave, let's leave together. However, the middle-aged man was unwilling to abandon the two of them. Compared to the two old men, the middle-aged man's injuries were the lightest. Patriarch, in the Tang family, we are the only three adepts above level 8 of Qi gathering. If the three of us die here today, the Tang family will become a grand family. The old man in green said anxiously. At that time, the three of us will become the sinners of the family. Patriarch, you are a level 9 adept. As long as you are alive, even if we are gone, the Tang family will still be the tycoon family it used to be. Seeing the grizzly bear charge again, the old man in blue said anxiously, his pupils constricting. Patriarch, please put the family first. As soon as the green-clothed old man finished speaking, his entire body shot out with a resolute expression, and he flashed towards the robust grizzly bear as if he was not afraid of death. The blue-clothed old man also moved at almost the same time, similarly not fearing death. Great Elder. Second Elder. The middle-aged man's eyes almost split apart when he saw this scene, and he gritted his teeth before turning around in the end with the intention of leaving. Now that things had developed to this point, although he still didn't want to abandon the two elders, he also knew that he absolutely couldn't let them down. If he also died, the two elders would have died in vain. Whoosh! Almost at the instant the middle-aged man turned around, from the corner of his eyes, he happened to see a white figure shoot out from the bamboo forest like a bolt of lightning, directly charging towards the two old men's vigorous grizzly bear. Bang! With a loud bang, the grizzly bear moved 3 to 4 meters horizontally, passing by the two old men. Not only did it miss its charge, but it even rolled twice due to the inertia of its huge body, looking very pathetic. Immediately, the middle-aged man turned around in a panic. With just a glance, he saw that there was an additional figure in a snow-white robe not far from the two old men. When he saw that it was only a young man, the middle-aged man couldn't help but be dumbstruck. Even the two old men who had just regained their senses were also dumbstruck when they saw the young man's appearance. Roar! It was only when the robust grizzly bear's angry roar that the three of them came back to their senses in a panic. As soon as they regained their senses, they saw that the robust grizzly bear's huge eyes were filled with bloodlust. When it pounced again, it charged towards the young man at an even faster speed. Faced with the robust grizzly bear's charge, not only did the young man not avoid it, but he also flew forward and charged towards the robust grizzly bear. Under the gazes of the three bystanders, the young man's figure seemed very small in front of the robust grizzly bear's hill-like figure. It was like the difference between a 3-year-old child and a burly man. So fast. At the same time, the three of them realized that the young man's speed was even faster than the furious charge of the robust grizzly bear. This made their hearts skip a beat. The robust grizzly bear was invincible among the level 9 demons in the Lost Forest. Apart from the two golden-crowned eagles, it was the absolute overlord of the Lost Forest. The adepts in the country of Yunyang who had not attained petty consummation of the Qi gathering would not dare to provoke the robust grizzly bear. Watch out! Just as the young man was about to collide with the robust grizzly bear, the middle-aged man instinctively cried out in warning. At this moment, the hearts of the three of them were suspended in their throats at the same time. Whoosh! Just as the young man was about to collide with the robust grizzly bear, his feet tapped the ground at the same time, and he moved in a strange manner to avoid the robust grizzly bear. Bang! As the young man and the robust grizzly bear brushed past each other, his right arm jerked, and he punched the robust grizzly bear's head with a loud, dull thud. Roar! The robust grizzly bear let out a pained cry, and its huge body was carried forward by inertia for some distance before it crashed to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. It's dead? The three men standing at the side stared with wide eyes, shocked and incredulous at the scene before them. The robust grizzly bear was dead? Given the robust grizzly bear's ability, even the best adepts of petty consummation of the Qi gathering would not be able to kill it. This was because it was not only strong, but also had a thick hide and a formidable defense. But now, in the blink of an eye, the robust grizzly bear was dead? And it had died at the hands of a young man? Is he from the Tycoon Tang family of the Chu royal city? Zhou Donghuang used the first-grade fist technique, beating the bull through the mountain, to ignore the robust grizzly bear's defense and kill it by smashing its brain. He then glanced at the three men standing by the side. I have something to do now. Take out the gallbladder of the robust grizzly bear and send it to room 3 of Chuxiu in tomorrow. As for the other parts of the robust grizzly bear, you can deal with them as you see fit. As he finished speaking, Zhou Donghuang continued deeper into the Lost Forest, as he realized that he was about to reach the source of the spirit absorption. Through the conversation between the three men, Zhou Donghuang already knew where they had come from, so he was not worried that they would steal the gallbladder of the robust grizzly bear. Only when Zhou Donghuang's silhouette disappeared from their sight did the three men regain their senses and look at each other speechlessly. After a moment, the middle-aged man was the first to regain his senses. He swallowed hard and said with some difficulty, "Head elder, second elder, we're not dreaming, are we? A young man killed the robust grizzly bear in a single move?" The middle-aged man's face was full of disbelief. "Chief, we also feel like we're dreaming, but the problem is, this is not a dream." The old man in green reached out and tore at the flesh on his face. He could not help but laugh bitterly at the excruciating pain. Looks like he also went for the spirit fruit that caused the spirit energy in the lost forest to change. The old man in blue sighed. "Let's go back, not to mention the fact that we are so injured that we have no advantage in obtaining the spirit fruit. Even if we were not injured, with that young man and the people from the Chu royal family around, it would still be difficult for us to obtain the spirit fruit." The middle-aged man laughed bitterly. His words received the agreement of the two old men. The three of them were the chief of the Tycoon Tang family of the Chu royal city, Tang Liunian, head elder Tang Yusen, and second elder Tang Yong. They were the three pillars of the Tang family. Tang Liunian was a level 9 adept, while Tang Yusen and Tang Yong were both level 8 adepts. The Tang family was not considered a top tycoon family in the Chu royal city, but it was still a superior tycoon family, far superior to the bottom tycoon families like the Shi family. Today, Tang Liunian and the other two had come for the spirit fruit that caused the spirit qi in the lost forest to become abnormal. However, before they could see the spirit fruit, they had unluckily encountered the only great strength grizzly bear in the lost forest. However, although we did not get the spirit fruit, our gains are not small. The entire body of the grizzly bear is a treasure, and even if we leave the most valuable part, the gallbladder, to that young man, we have earned more than 1,000,000 liang of silver on this trip. Tang Yong laughed. The entire body of a level 9 grizzly bear, including the gallbladder, was worth more than 2,000,000 liang of silver. Even excluding the gallbladder, the rest of the body was worth more than 1,000,000 liang of silver. Second elder, we cannot take advantage of this. Tang Liunian shook his head. Don't forget, if not for that young man, we would not have survived. Deep in the lost forest, beyond the white fog. As if sensing something, the golden-crowned eagle with the deep golden crown on its head suddenly flapped its wings, and like a bolt of lightning, it sped off in a certain direction. Second brother, someone is trying to barge into our territory. This golden-crowned eagle warned the other golden-crowned eagle as it flew out. The other golden-crowned eagle's eyes flashed fiercely, and it too flapped its wings and followed its elder brother like a bolt of lightning. Not long after the two golden-crowned eagles flew out, a white figure sped out of the white fog from another direction. It was Zhou Donghuang, who had rushed over after killing the grizzly bear. This is a matrix? Looking at the white fog in front of him and the wild mosquitoes and flies that were killed by the white blade of light as they approached, Zhou Donghuang's eyes narrowed. Why would something like a matrix appear here? Even the most ordinary of matrices required inner yuan to set up. Chapter 97. At the Wei family mansion. In the backyard. Didn't the first young master of the Tan family, Tan Ji, go look for Shiryu? Why isn't he here yet? Many of the scions of the grand families who had been waiting to watch the show were puzzled when Shiryu and Tan Ji did not appear. It's been so long, even if that Tan Ji walked slowly from the Wei family mansion to the Shi family mansion, it would be enough time for him to go back and forth several times. What's going on? Could it be that Shiryu met Yang Zishi and the rest on the way here? That's possible. Most of the scions of the grand families whispered among themselves. No one thought that Shiryu did not dare to come, only that something special had happened. Shiryu was the first young master of the Tycoon Shi family, and the youth in white was not even from a grand family. Normally, no one would think that Shiryu would not dare to come. Looks like Sister Jiape was not exaggerating. If there was anyone present who thought that sure you would not dare to come, it would be the host today, the first young master of the Wei family, Wei Hongtao. Today, when the youth in white was about to leave, he had wanted to stop him, but had been stopped by the first young mistress of the Ren family, Ren Jiape. At that time, Ren Jiape had told him out of the blue that sure you would not dare to come. Naturally, he did not believe it. But now it seemed that what Ren Jiape had said was most likely true. That youth, who is he? Wei Hongtao did not believe that it could be such a coincidence. The Chu royal city was huge, and the possibility of sure you bumping into the youth on the way here was very small. Furthermore, even if they did bump into each other, why didn't the first young master of the Tan family, Tan Ji, come back to look for his younger brother, Tan Li? Wei Hongtao glanced at Tan Li and saw that when he was talking to the others, he was also saying that his cousin sure you must have bumped into that youth on the way here. With nothing to see, many scions of the grand families looked at the sky and went up to bid farewell to Wei Hongtao. That Yang Zishi would rather like an ordinary youth than young Master Shiryu, don't you think she's being cheap? The third young mistress of the Zheng family, Zheng Qiuhe, said with a mocking smile. In Zheng Qiuhe's eyes, even the descendants of aristocratic families were no different from ordinary youths. I've heard her say that she dislikes young Master Shiryu for being too fickle. How many capable men don't have multiple wives? In my opinion, that Yang Zishi is just pretending to be virtuous. Perhaps, when the youth beside her dies at the hands of young Master Shiryu, she will know that in this world, one's background is the most important. Not bad. That youth's martial Dao talent might be good, but if he can't grow up, what's the use? How dare he flirt with Yang Zishi? Since this matter has reached young Master Shiryu's ears, he will definitely die. Now, the people who were mocking Yang Zishi along with Zheng Qiuhe were all daughters of noble families who used to call Yang Zishi sisters. In the past, Shiryu had taken a liking to Yang Zishi, causing them to feel jealous. However, in the past, Yang Zishi was also the daughter of the Yang family, and her status was equal to theirs. Although they were jealous, they did not dare to show it. Now that Yang Zishi had been expelled from the Yang family, they no longer had any scruples and began to vent the hidden jealousy in their hearts to their heart's content. Deep in the lost forest. In front of us is the territory of the two golden-crowned eagles. We have circled around their territory, and we can confirm that the location of the spirit fruit's emergence is within their territory. Outside the territory of the two golden-crowned eagles, the master of the lost forest, there were a few people standing at several places, looking into the forest with fearful expressions. Commander Shui, the spirit fruit should be within the golden-crowned eagle's territory. Should we take the risk and enter? An old man with white hair and brows dressed in a long gray robe asked gravely as he looked at the burly figure in front of him with his back to him. The burly figure was a middle-aged man of about 50 years of age, with a square face and fierce eyes. He was dressed in silver light armor, and a long sword hung at his waist. He was the commander of the Chu Royal City Guard, Shui Meng. Shui Meng was also one of the few petty consummation adepts in the Chu royal household, and he was here on the orders of the Chu king. There's no chance. Shui Meng sighed. Just as the gray-robed old man was puzzled by Shui Meng's words, he saw a huge black shadow flying towards them like a bolt of lightning from the bamboo forest in the distance, and in the blink of an eye, it was in the air not far away. The black shadow was a giant black eagle with a golden crown on its head, flapping its wings as it circled in the air in front of them, staring at them coldly. Whoosh! In a moment, another black shadow flew over, and another identical giant black eagle appeared, but the color of this giant eagle's crown was not as deep as the previous one. Gulp! Seeing the two giant black eagles circling in the air in front of them, the old man swallowed hard, because he knew that these were the masters of the lost forest, the two golden-crowned eagles of petty consummation. Gentlemen, we have no intention of trespassing on your territory. Shui Meng cupped his hands in salute to the two giant black eagles circling in the air in front of him and spoke first. Just as the gray-robed old man thought that the two golden-crowned eagles did not understand Xue Meng's words and thought that Xue Meng was wasting his time, the two golden-crowned eagles glared at them fiercely, then turned and flew away. Did they understand? The gray-robed old man's eyes widened in disbelief. After a moment, he could not help but ask Xue Meng, "Commander Xue, didn't you say that only Khanate stage demons can develop intelligence? Why do I feel that these two golden-crowned eagles already have intelligence?" Generally speaking, demons could only develop intelligence after attaining the Khanate stage, and not all demons could develop intelligence after attaining the Khanate stage. It depended on their bloodline and talent. Normally, only Khanate demons can develop intelligence, but the two golden-crowned eagles in the Lost Forest are different. Although they are only demons of petty consummation of the Qi gathering, they have already developed intelligence. Xue Meng said. "Let's go back. Since the spirit fruit has been born in their territory, it is not something we can spy on. Even if all the petty consummation adepts of the king's mansion came together, it would be difficult to snatch the fruit from the mouths of the two golden-crowned eagles, much less me, a petty consummation adept." At the end of his speech, Xue Meng let out a long sigh and turned around to leave. The old man reluctantly looked inside again, then turned around and followed Xue Meng's footsteps. Even Xue Meng, a petty consummation adept, did not dare to enter the territory of the two golden-crowned eagles, so a level 9 adept like him would be courting death if he entered. As Xue Meng and the old man turned to leave, the people from the elite tycoon families and superior-level tycoon families of the Chu royal city also stopped outside the territory of the two golden-crowned eagles. Initially, they were still considering whether they should take the risk and enter. However, when they saw the two golden-crowned eagles flying past them, their expressions changed completely, and they hurriedly turned to leave, deeply afraid that the eagles would attack them. Not long after, the two golden-crowned eagles circled their territory, scaring away all the people who had been attracted by the unusual spirit energy of the Lost Forest. These fools, they must have thought that some spirit fruit has been born in the Lost Forest. The golden-crowned eagle with the dark gold crown on its head could not help but curse in demon language, its tone full of mockery. If they knew that the cause of this phenomenon was a woman of the primal core stage, they would probably wet their pants in fear. The other golden-crowned eagle said, "Something's wrong." Suddenly, the golden-crowned eagle in front narrowed its eyes. "Second brother, there's movement inside, someone has intruded into our territory." Immediately, the two golden-crowned eagles turned and flew deeper into the territory. However, when they reached the depths of the territory, beyond the white fog, they saw something. A white figure passed through the white fog and entered the white fog. Strangely, the white fog seemed to completely ignore him, and did not produce any sharp white blades to attack him. How is this possible? Seeing this, the two golden-crowned eagles looked at each other, their eyes narrowing as they saw the disbelief in each other's eyes. Could it be that the spell has failed? In a moment, the two golden-crowned eagles also wanted to enter, but as they neared, they were forced back by the white blades of light that came out of the white fog. The white blades of light were as sharp and frightening as before. Could it be that we can enter from there? The two golden-crowned eagles tried to enter from where the white figure had entered, but they were still forced back by the white blades of light. The white blades of light in the white fog were so powerful that they were no different from the blades of Qi released by a Khanate stage adept, and they were far from being able to withstand them. That kid just now, how did he get in? If I'm not wrong, he seems to be just a youth. The two golden-crowned eagles stared at each other, their eyes filled with confusion. They could not understand how a youth had managed to enter the spell before them. The white fog completely blocked their vision, and the two golden-crowned eagles could not see what was going on inside. That scary woman must have set up this spell to prevent anyone from entering. Once that kid enters, he will definitely be killed by that woman. The two golden-crowned eagles thought so. Just now, under the watchful eyes of the two golden-crowned eagles, the person who had entered the spell was none other than Zhou Donghuang. Although Zhou Donghuang was currently only an adept of the qi-gathering stage, he had 1,000 years of memories from his previous life. However, with 1,000 years of memories from his previous life, although he was not very proficient in formations, the formations that appeared in the depths of the Lost Forest were only of the lowest grade. Chapter 98. There's a lake. After passing through the spell, Zhou Donghuang saw a lake so clear that he could see the bottom. In front of the lake were two large trees leaning against each other. However, very quickly, Zhou Donghuang's gaze was drawn to the figure sitting cross-legged on the other side of the lake. This was a young lady about 20 years old. She wore a light green dress and had long hair that cascaded down her back. Her eyebrows were like a painting, her nose was high, and her lips were bright red. She was extremely beautiful. Her peerlessly beautiful cheeks were slightly cold, imperceptibly revealing a kind of iciness that kept people at a distance of 1,000 miles. Poisoned? In the blink of an eye, Zhou Donghuang noticed that the lady's exposed snow-white skin would blush from time to time. The blush would disappear in the blink of an eye, but it would quickly reappear. Furthermore, the frequency of this happening was increasing. Zhou Donghuang had just taken 2 steps in the direction of the lady when she suddenly opened her eyes. Her beautiful eyes were like pure and flawless gems, instantly attracting Zhou Donghuang's attention. Like a finishing touch, the woman at this moment completely displayed her peerless beauty. Whether it was her temperament or appearance, she was even more eye-catching than the proud daughters of the great clans and supreme sects of the Star Field in his previous life. However, very quickly, this pair of pure and flawless eyes turned crimson again. She stared at him coquettishly, and the atmosphere suddenly became ambiguous. Scram! As the lady opened her mouth with some difficulty, she let out a low growl that came from deep within her throat. The crimson color in her eyes temporarily disappeared, as if they had instantly turned back into pure and flawless gems. At the same time, there was a look of anxiety and panic in the depths of her eyes. Not long ago, Luo Qinghan had already made up her mind to continue struggling for a while. If she still could not suppress the effects of the yin-yang elixir in her body, she would use her last shred of rationality to self-destruct her primal core. The destructive power of the self-destruction of the primal core would not only blow her body to smithereens, but it would also completely destroy the entire area that was covered by the spell. However, what she did not expect was that in the burial ground that she had prepared for herself, a youth would suddenly appear. Didn't she set up the spell? How did this youth get in? However, right now, she had no time to explain too much to the young man. She only wanted the young man to stay away from the burial ground that she had prepared for herself. With the young man here, although she could also self-destruct her primordial core, she did not want to harm the innocent. Wow, scram! The woman blurted out, and a terrifying sound wave swept towards Zhou Donghuang, causing his eardrums to rupture instantly. Blood flowed from his ears, and at the same time, it caused his internal organs to tremble. He could not help but open his mouth and spit out a large mouthful of blood. She's a primal core adept. Zhou Donghuang's eyes narrowed. He had never imagined that this girl, who looked to be in her 20s at most, would actually be a primal core adept. Based on the environment and heritage of Ziyun, it was impossible for such a young primal core adept to appear. Thus, there was only one possibility. This woman came from outside the planet of Ziyun. What poison did you get? I might be able to help you. Although the woman's voice had injured Zhou Donghuang could see a trace of determination and reluctance in the depths of her eyes. It was not difficult to tell that she had something that she could not speak of. Seeing that the young man had no intention of leaving, Luo Qinghan had wanted to send him flying, but before she could activate the inner yuan in her primordial core, she realized the power of the yin-yang elixir in her body had become even more overbearing as she was distracted, and it spread through her entire body, causing her to feel dizzy. Whoosh! Just as Luo Qinghan's eyes were dazed and her body swayed, Zhou Donghuang had already flown out to support her as she was about to fall. The masculine aura that rushed towards her caused the power of the yin-yang elixir in Luo Qinghan's body to boil even more, causing her consciousness to become increasingly blurry. Go, go! Luo Qinghan gently bit her tongue, temporarily clearing her mind as she shouted at the young man who was supporting her. You've been poisoned by the yin-yang elixir? At this time, Zhou Donghuang finally confirmed the poison that the woman had been poisoned with. Strictly speaking, this was not a poison, but a very overbearing aphrodisiac known as the yin-yang elixir. It was colorless and odorless. Unless one was a divine transformation adept or above, anyone who was careless with the yin-yang elixir would be poisoned. The simplest way to neutralize the yin-yang elixir was to combine yin and yang. However, Zhou Donghuang also had other ways to neutralize the yin-yang elixir. Just bear with it a little longer, give me an hour, and I can help you force the power of the yin-yang elixir out of your body. Just as Zhou Donghuang finished speaking and was about to use his qi to help the woman force out the yin-yang elixir, the woman's pure and flawless eyes were completely captivated. Her gaze was seductive as it landed on Zhou Donghuang. The fair skin on her body was flushed red. In the next moment, Zhou Donghuang felt a huge force pushing him down. He wanted to resist, but the woman's strength was much stronger than his. He was completely powerless to resist. In his previous life, he had viewed primordial core adepts as ants. And now, in front of a primordial core adept, he was no different from an ant. Oh no! She's completely under the control of the yin-yang elixir. Seeing the woman transform from a pure fairy into an enchanting demon, pouncing on him and using her inner yuan to bind him, Zhou Donghuang's expression changed. Wake up, I can use other methods to help you neutralize the effects of the yin-yang elixir. No. No way. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. The woman sat by the lake with her clothes in a mess. She looked at the red roses scattered on the messy ground in front of her, and then looked at the young man who was sitting cross-legged not far away, completely immersed in his cultivation. I shouldn't have cared about him just now. Thinking back to when she had first seen the young man, Luo Qinghan's mouth twitched, and a look of regret flashed across her eyes. Just now, she had already planned to self-destruct her primordial core, but because of the young man's intrusion, she had temporarily given up on the idea of self-destructing her primordial core. And at that moment, the effects of the yin-yang elixir had taken the opportunity to completely control her. Although she could not remember what happened next, she could still remember bits and pieces. Coupled with the scene before her, it was not difficult for her to guess what had just happened. Luo Qinghan's expression turned cold, and she raised her hand as fast as lightning. Her inner yuan burst out of her body and wrapped around her palm. With a light blow, she could end the life of the young man before her. But in the end, she put down her hand. Forget it, at the end of the day, this matter has nothing to do with him. In fact, he is just a victim. Perhaps the heavens sent him to help me neutralize the effects of the yin-yang elixir because they did not want me to self-destruct my primordial core. Since the heavens have not forsaken me, I should return to the Tianxian planet and settle the score with that vicious woman. Luo Qinghan's eyes flashed coldly, and with a shake of her body, she rose into the air and disappeared behind the clouds. Luo Qinghan, the second daughter of the Luo family on the Tianxian planet, was also a proud daughter of the Luo family. Her martial arts talent was so high that she easily surpassed the younger generation of the Luo family, including her eldest brother. She was publicly recognized as the top of the younger generation of the Luo family. At the age of 20, she had already entered the primordial core stage, and was the youngest primordial core adept in the history of the Luo family. A few days ago, Luo Qinghan's best friend had invited her to share a meal, but she had not expected that her best friend would put the yin-yang elixir in the wine. Then, when the effects of the drug had taken effect, she had seen the man who had pursued her for a long time but had been firmly rejected by her. With the help of her best friend, the other party had wanted to have sex with her. She had suppressed the effects of the yin-yang elixir all the way to escape, and had even used up all the spirit stones she had on her to cast a concealment spell around herself. Only then had she been able to successfully escape to the nearest interstellar teleporter. Indiscriminate teleportation. She had stepped onto the interstellar teleporter, and in order to avoid leaving any traces, she had chosen to indiscriminate teleportation, allowing the interstellar teleporter to send her to any galaxy, as well as any planet within that galaxy. Then, Luo Qinghan had been indiscriminately teleported to the planet of Ziyun, appearing near the Chu royal city. She had landed deep within the lost forest, snatched the resting place of the two golden-crowned eagles, and set up a spell in an attempt to neutralize the effects of the yin-yang elixir in her body. However, the effects of the yin-yang elixir were too strong, and seeing that there was no hope of neutralizing it, she had decided to self-destruct her primal core to preserve her purity. She, Luo Qinghan, would rather die than allow anyone to sully her flawless body. However, she had not expected that just as she was about to self-destruct her primal core, a young man would suddenly barge in, causing her to feel compassion for him and temporarily give up on the idea of self-destructing her primal core. And it was this moment that led to something that should not have happened between her and the young man. Zhou Donghuang. Not long ago, when she and the young man were making love, Luo Qinghan had learned his name from him. However, in her opinion, she and this young man would never cross paths again in this lifetime. When the shirtless young man awoke from his practice, it was already evening, and the sky was filled with a red glow, making it seem as if the entire land had been dyed red. Even the white fog formed by the surrounding spell could not block out the glow of the red glow. She left? Looking around, he did not see any sign of the woman, and looking at the gradually thinning white fog, Zhou Donghuang knew that the woman had left without saying goodbye. Tianxian Planet, Luo Qinghan. This was all the information that Zhou Donghuang knew about the woman, including her name and background. Just as he had guessed, the woman was not from the planet of Ziyun. Looks like this is the first time. Looking at the blood stains on the ground in front of him, Zhou Donghuang shook his head and smiled bitterly. Chapter 99. Could it be, this is what it feels like to fall in love? Zhou Donghuang realized that now, whenever he opened or closed his eyes, the image of the girl named Luo Qinghan would appear in his mind involuntarily. It was as if she had taken root in his mind and could not be dispelled. The Tianxian Planet? I will look for you. Zhou Donghuang knew that with his current ability, the gap between him and Luo Qinghan was too great. Perhaps even Luo Qinghan did not think that they would have the chance to meet again. After all, Luo Qinghan was only 20 years old and had already attained the primal core stage. And he was almost 18 years old, but had not even attained the Khanate stage. However, although I do not know the art of dual practice, she is a primal core adept, and it was her first time, so I still benefited greatly. When Luo Qinghan awoke, Zhou Donghuang had been practicing because he had obtained some of Luo Qinghan's primordial yin energy and wanted to refine it as soon as possible, otherwise it would dissipate very quickly. After an afternoon, he had finally refined the primordial yin energy, and his level of practice had surpassed level 9 of Qi gathering and directly attained petty consummation of the Qi gathering. In fact, he was not far from great consummation of the Qi gathering. Petty consummation of the Qi gathering and level 9 of Qi gathering could not be mentioned in the same breath. For the former, just the Qi alone was enough to produce the strength of 9 bulls and 1 tiger, while for the latter, the Qi could produce the strength of 9 bulls at most, which was a difference of 1 tiger's strength. The strength of 1 bull was only about 400 gene of force. But the strength of 1 tiger was about 1000 gene of force. Because of this, the gap between a level 9 adept and a petty consummation adept was even greater than the gap between a level 7 adept and a level 9 adept. Suddenly, as if sensing something, Zhou Donghuang's gaze focused on the matrix that enveloped the area beneath his feet. The matrix had been set up by Luo Qinghan using her inner yuan, and after she had left, the matrix had not been replenished with her inner yuan, and as time passed, it naturally became weaker and weaker. Boom! Kaboom! With a few loud noises, the matrix enveloping the lake collapsed, and the white fog around the lake dissipated as if it had never been there. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two huge black shadows streaked across the sky and arrived above the lake in the blink of an eye. They circled above the lake. These two shadows were the masters of the lost forest, the two petty consummation golden-crowned eagles. Now, they were circling above the lake while staring at the bare-chested youth sitting cross-legged at the side of the lake. Their eyes were filled with bewilderment and uncertainty. "Big brother, where's that scary woman? Where did it go? I've always been with you." "If you ask me, who should I ask? Big brother, the one who barged into the formation set up by that woman seems to be this young man. He's actually naked. Could it be that he's bathing in the lake? In that case, won't we have to drink his bath water in the future? Big brother, do you want to kill him?" The two golden-crowned eagles circled above the lake as they conversed in the language of beasts, as if no one else was around. "I didn't bathe in it." Zhou Donghuang picked up his white robe from the ground and put it on. He stood up and tied the belt around his waist as he glanced at the two golden-crowned eagles above the lake. His lips moved slightly, and he spoke at a frequency different from human speech to the two golden-crowned eagles. And he was speaking in the language of beasts. In his previous life, he had traversed the universe for thousands of years, and he had basically dabbled in all the languages of the universe. However, he was only proficient in a few of the most widely used languages. The language of beasts was one of them. You can actually understand what we're saying?" When the two golden-crowned eagles heard Zhou Donghuang speak to them in the language of beasts, they were so shocked that they slowed down. Both pairs of eyes stared at Zhou Donghuang in disbelief. "Just petty consummation of the Qi gathering, and you've already developed intelligence. Looks like you've both had a fortuitous encounter." Zhou Donghuang continued. "Generally speaking, even if it was a demon with the ability to practice, it could only develop intelligence after attaining the Khanate stage and becoming a Khanate demon. But these two golden-crowned eagles were only petty consummation of the Qi-gathering demons, but they had developed intelligence. Undoubtedly, they had had a fortuitous encounter and developed intelligence earlier than expected. Big brother, this is amazing, there's actually a human who can understand us. Second brother, looks like this human youth is not simple." As Zhou Donghuang once again used the language of beasts to communicate with the two golden-crowned eagles, the two golden-crowned eagles whispered to each other excitedly. Ever since they had developed intelligence, they could only communicate with each other. Of all the beasts in the Lost Forest, they were the only ones who had developed intelligence, and it was difficult to find a third beast to talk to. But now, there was actually a human who could communicate with them, and they could not help but feel excited at the same time. "Young man, how did you break into the matrix set up by that woman?" The elder of the two golden-crowned eagles asked Zhou Donghuang. "It's such a simple matrix, how hard would it be to break in?" Zhou Donghuang countered. "Young man, where's that woman?" The younger golden-crowned eagle asked Zhou Donghuang. "She left." Hearing the golden-crowned eagle mention Luo Qinghan, Zhou Donghuang sighed. "Left?" Hearing Zhou Donghuang's words, the eyes of the two golden-crowned eagles lit up, and they flew excitedly above the lake, circling a few times before returning to the air in front of Zhou Donghuang. "Young man, since you can talk to us, you can stay in the Lost Forest with us in the future. With us, you'll definitely have a good life." The younger golden-crowned eagle said to Zhou Donghuang with narrowed eyes, as if he wanted to take Zhou Donghuang in as a follower. "I'm not a demon, why should I stay in the Lost Forest?" Zhou Donghuang shook his head and turned to walk out, preparing to leave the depths of the Lost Forest and return to the Chu royal city. It was already late, and by the time he returned to the Chu royal city, it would probably be completely dark. "Young man, our territory is not a place you can come and go as you please," the older golden-crowned eagle said coldly. You either stay and be our follower, or die here. You'd better think carefully. What? I don't want to stay here, and you still intend to kill me? Zhou Donghuang turned back to look at the two golden-crowned eagles, and his lips curled into a faint smile. Then I'd like to see, what right do you have to kill me? Having broken through from level 8 to petty consummation of the Qi gathering, Zhou Donghuang's Qi had improved by leaps and bounds, and now that the two golden-crowned eagles had the intention of attacking him, he was immediately excited. Big brother, I'll go teach him a lesson. The younger golden-crowned eagle said to the other golden-crowned eagle, then flapped his wings and sped towards Zhou Donghuang. The black wings were like blades, leaving a crisp sound in the air. But the golden-crowned eagle's true power was not in its wings, but in its sharp claws that could cut through metal as if it were mud. Whoosh! The petty consummation golden-crowned eagle flew at full speed like a bolt of lightning, and in the blink of an eye was behind Zhou Donghuang, its sharp claws about to land on Zhou Donghuang. Whoosh! Zhou Donghuang's figure flashed, and he dodged the golden-crowned eagle's claws like a ghost, the entire process as smooth as flowing water. Whoosh! The golden-crowned eagle attacked again. But Zhou Donghuang still managed to dodge it. Is that all you've got? Zhou Donghuang used a first-grade swiftness technique, and his footwork was miraculous. His body was like a ghost, and he easily dodged the golden-crowned eagle's attack. Finally, the golden-crowned eagle began to tire, but Zhou Donghuang was unaffected, and he did not slow down at all. Second brother, you're really useless. The older golden-crowned eagle cursed at the golden-crowned eagle that could not do anything to Zhou Donghuang, and then joined in the attack on Zhou Donghuang. But even though the two golden-crowned eagles attacked Zhou Donghuang together, they still could not touch him, not even the hem of his clothes. Rascal, do you only know how to dodge? After about 10 breaths, the younger golden-crowned eagle cursed in exasperation. Of course not, Zhou Donghuang said lightly. Zhou Donghuang said lightly, I just wanted to see if you could meet me. Now it looks like I overestimated you. Almost as soon as Zhou Donghuang finished speaking, he suddenly stopped where he was, and faced the two golden-crowned eagles that were lunging at him, his hands forming claws as they swept out. Zhou Donghuang used the first-grade attack technique, 100 changing hands of grappling, and easily dodged the sharp claws of the two golden-crowned eagles. His hands were like pincers, and he grabbed one of their wings, holding it in his hands. Just as the two golden-crowned eagles were about to attack again, Zhou Donghuang's arms shook, and he spun the eagles around a few times in the air, and then threw them viciously out, crashing into one of the large trees by the lake. Bang! Bang! The two golden-crowned eagles landed heavily on the tree trunk, causing the tree to shake. They were also in a sorry state, and barely managed to stabilize themselves, flapping their wings to prevent themselves from falling to the ground. Rascal, I did not expect you to be so strong. I admit, on the ground, we are no match for you. After the older golden-crowned eagle steadied itself, it circled about 10 meters above Zhou Donghuang's head as if to provoke him. But we specialize in flying, if we take to the skies, you can't do anything to us. His voice was full of smugness. Is that so? Zhou Donghuang smiled faintly, and then kicked out, lifting a rock the size of a baby's fist from the ground and grabbing it. What? Are you going to use the rock in your hand to attack me? The golden-crowned eagle laughed coldly. Whoosh! Chapter 100. While Zhou Donghuang was gathering his strength, the golden-crowned eagle had already sped up to a higher altitude, but it was still unable to avoid the rock that Zhou Donghuang had thrown and struck it on the head. In a moment of dizziness, the golden-crowned eagle fell from the sky, and if not for the other golden-crowned eagle catching it in time, it would have been the first golden-crowned eagle of its kind to fall to its death. Thank you for showing mercy. After a moment of dizziness, the older golden-crowned eagle finally recovered and thanked Zhou Donghuang profusely. At this moment, when it looked at Zhou Donghuang again, its eyes were filled with fear. The golden-crowned eagle had already seen the youth's strength when he had grabbed its wing and thrown it, and it was not difficult to see that the youth had shown mercy when he had thrown the rock. Otherwise, it would have been dead by now. This chi-gathering elixir in my hands should be able to help you attain great consummation of the chi-gathering. Zhou Donghuang raised his hand and threw a bottle of chi-gathering elixir to the older golden-crowned eagle. The latter's eyes shone with surprise, but it still reached out to catch it, then opened the stopper on the bottle and poured all the elixir into its mouth and swallowed it. It was not worried that the youth would harm it. If the youth had wanted to harm it, he could have killed it without mercy. After consuming the chi-gathering elixir, the older golden-crowned eagle closed its eyes and perched on the broad back of the younger golden-crowned eagle to practice. After a while, when it opened its eyes again, they shone with excitement. This chi-gathering elixir can actually increase the sensitivity to chi by 10 times. When the older golden-crowned eagle spoke again, his tone was filled with indescribable excitement. Compared to this chi-gathering elixir, even the chi-gathering elixir that we two brothers seized from a few adepts that doubled the sensitivity to chi is nothing but trash. Years ago, the imperial court of Yunyang had sent a great consummation adept to the Lost Forest to hunt 2 golden-crowned eagles, but not only did they return empty-handed, the companions had also been robbed of their chi-gathering elixirs. Increase the sensitivity to chi by 10 times? Big brother, are you joking? The eyes of the younger golden-crowned eagle were filled with disbelief. Almost as soon as it finished speaking, its big brother clenched his right claw into a fist and hit it hard on the head. You dare not believe in big brother's words? The second golden-crowned eagle laughed awkwardly. I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. Zhou Donghuang glanced at the 2 golden-crowned eagles, then turned to leave. Young man, wait. Just as Zhou Donghuang turned around, the older golden-crowned eagle spoke again, causing Zhou Donghuang to stop in his tracks and turn to look at it, his eyes narrowing slightly. What? You want to fight again? No, 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 the older golden-crowned eagle hurriedly shook its head. We are no match for you. We admit defeat. I asked you to wait because I wanted to ask you for a few more bottles of that chi-gathering elixir you just gave me, just that one bottle is not enough for me to attain great consummation of the chi-gathering. 8 or 10 more bottles should be enough to help me attain great consummation of the chi-gathering. The older golden-crowned eagle said. You want the chi-gathering elixir? Zhou Donghuang smirked as if he had succeeded in his scheme. You and I are not related, why should I give you the chi-gathering elixir? This, the golden-crowned eagle paused. The young man before it seemed to have a point. In the past, it had always snatched the chi-gathering elixirs of the adepts who hunted in the Lost Forest, and it had gotten used to it. It felt that the chi-gathering elixirs of all the adepts who entered the Lost Forest should be given to it. Now, it remembered that this young man was stronger than it was, and there was nothing it could do if he did not give it the chi-gathering elixir. Seeing the golden-crowned eagle fall silent, Zhou Donghuang knew that the time was right, and he spoke again. Actually, it is not impossible for you to obtain the chi-gathering elixir I just gave you. Leave the Lost Forest and follow me. As long as you listen to me, I can always provide you with that chi-gathering elixir. With the chi-gathering elixir I give you, it will not be long before you attain the Khanate stage and become Khanate demons, much less great consummation of the chi-gathering. Zhou Donghuang stated his objective. And this was also the reason why he had not killed the golden-crowned eagles just now, because he wanted to bring these 2 golden-crowned eagles out of the Lost Forest and make them his. These 2 golden-crowned eagles were not only powerful, but they were also much faster than the Fergana horses when used as transportation. Second brother, what do you think? The older golden-crowned eagle asked the other golden-crowned eagle in a soft voice. It did not know that even though it had lowered its voice, Zhou Donghuang's incredible hearing was still able to hear it clearly. Eldest brother, if he can really continuously provide us with a chi-gathering elixir that increases our sensitivity to chi by 10 times, I think we can follow him. The second golden-crowned eagle also said in a low voice, with our potential, attaining great consummation of the chi-gathering is already our limit. If we follow him, just as he said, we have a chance of becoming Khanate demons. After we become Khanate demons, we will no longer need the chi-gathering elixir, then we can leave him completely. Do you think he can tie us down and prevent us from leaving? The chi-gathering elixir was only useful for adepts and demons of the chi-gathering stage, and was of no help to adepts and demons of the Khanate stage and above. Second brother, I realize that you have become smarter. The eldest golden-crowned eagle laughed softly. Hearing the two golden-crowned eagles whisper, Zhou Donghuang laughed inwardly. If he, Zhou Donghuang, could formulate a chi-gathering elixir that could increase the speed of practice of adepts and demons of the chi-gathering stage, why couldn't he formulate elixirs that could increase the speed of practice of adepts and demons of the Khanate stage? These two golden-crowned eagles were too naive. Now, the two golden-crowned eagles still did not know that they had embarked on a path of no return. After whispering to each other, they expressed their willingness to follow Zhou Donghuang. On the way back, Zhou Donghuang stood on the back of the eldest golden-crowned eagle with his hands behind his back, allowing it to fly him back to the Chu royal city. The golden-crowned eagle was huge, much larger than the average eagle, standing about 1.5 meters tall and with a wingspan of 5 meters. Standing on it, Zhou Donghuang felt like he was walking on flat ground. Young man, how should my eldest brother and I address you in the future? The second golden-crowned eagle asked as it suddenly turned to look at Zhou Donghuang. Just call me young master. Zhou Donghuang said casually. As he spoke, Zhou Donghuang asked, do the two of you have names? Seeing the two golden-crowned eagles shake their heads in unison, Zhou Donghuang said, since you don't, I'll give you one. From today onwards, you will be called Big Gold, and this will be Little Gold. In a few words, Zhou Donghuang had given the two golden-crowned eagles a name, naming the older golden-crowned eagle Big Gold and the other golden-crowned eagle Little Gold. When they had first arrived, Zhou Donghuang had taken an hour to travel 100 kilometers from the Chu royal city to the Lost Forest. Now, being brought back by the golden-crowned eagles had taken them only 15 minutes. This was the golden-crowned eagles' normal speed, and they had not expended their chi. Once their chi was expended, they could travel even faster. 100 kilometers would take 15 minutes, 1,000 kilometers would take a little more than 2 hours. And Fergana horses are said to be able to travel 1,000 kilometers in a day. Zhou Donghuang estimated that the golden-crowned eagle's normal flying speed was about 10 times that of Fergana horses. Moreover, Fergana horses needed a path to travel, while golden-crowned eagles could fly unimpeded and did not need to consider whether there was a path or not. From the capital of Yunfeng Prefecture to the Chu royal city, even on a Fergana horse, it would take at least 2.5 months, including the rest time. If it were the golden-crowned eagles, even if they were flying at normal speed, including the rest time, considering that the sky was unimpeded and they could travel in a straight line, it would only take about 5 days. As he thought about this, Zhou Donghuang felt that it had been a wise decision not to kill the two golden-crowned eagles, but to tame them instead. There. It was late at night, and no one noticed the two golden-crowned eagles flying into the Chu royal city even at a slow speed. Zhou Donghuang directed them to land in the backyard of Chuxiu Inn. Usually, the backyard was empty, and it was perfect for the two golden-crowned eagles to rest. However, to avoid scaring Yang Zishi, Fu, and Aunt Mei, Zhou Donghuang called them to the backyard and introduced the two golden-crowned eagles to them. After half a day's rest, Yang Zishi's condition was much better. Now, Zhou Donghuang could not help but feel a little guilty when he saw her. After all, she had just confessed her feelings to the young girl this morning, saying that she only saw her as a younger sister, but in the afternoon, she had made love with another woman in the depths of the Lost Forest. This is Big Gold, and this is Little Gold, they are two silly birds that I tamed in the Lost Forest, and they will be staying in the backyard from now on. Zhou Donghuang said to the three of them. Silly birds? After the three of them recovered from their shock, they looked at the two majestic eagles in front of them and could not associate them with the word silly birds. Now that night had fallen, and the backyard was dimly lit, Yang Zishi and Aunt May could not clearly see the golden crowns on the heads of the two eagles. Otherwise, even if they could not believe that these two eagles were the two golden-crowned eagles of the Lost Forest, they would definitely associate them with the two golden-crowned eagles. The two golden-crowned eagles of the Lost Forest were the two strongest demons in the western ridge of the Chu King, and almost everyone in the Chu royal city knew of them. After the three of them left the backyard, Big Gold looked at Zhou Donghuang and asked curiously, "Young master, were you introducing us to them just now? Although I do not understand most human languages, I can still understand what they call us. Did you not tell them that we are golden-crowned eagles?" Chapter 101. Early morning, January 1, 1229 of the Ziyun era. Young master. Zhou Donghuang, who was practicing in his room, was startled awake by Fu. Leaping off his bed, he walked out of his room and immediately saw three figures standing in the front yard. The leader was an elegant middle-aged man dressed in brocaded robes. His face was like a crown of jade, and his brows were dignified. He exuded the aura of a superior, but now he stood there obediently, not even daring to breathe. Behind the elegant middle-aged man were two old men. Looking at the posture of the two old men, they were not ordinary people. Their robes were made of brocade, and one of the old men wore a jade thumb ring on his right thumb, which was obviously valuable. The other old man had a jade pendant hanging from his waist, and judging from the quality of the jade, it was obviously not an ordinary jade pendant either. Zhou Donghuang was no stranger to these three people. They were the three members of the Tycoon Tang family that he had met in the Lost Forest the day before. At that time, the three of them had been chased by a grizzly bear, and he had taken a liking to the grizzly bear's gallbladder. He had intervened and killed the grizzly bear, indirectly saving their lives. Chief of the Tang family, Tang Liuyan, greets young master Donghuang. Seeing Zhou Donghuang walk out of the room, the elegant middle-aged man bowed first. Earlier, he had already learned from the servant that this person's name was Zhou Donghuang. Head elder of the Tang family, Tang Yusen, greets young master Donghuang. Second elder of the Tang family, Tang Yong, greets young master Donghuang. After Tang Liuyan, the two old men behind him also bowed respectfully to Zhou Donghuang, not daring to show the slightest disrespect, and their eyes were filled with gratitude. Yesterday, in the Lost Forest, if not for this young man's timely intervention, they would have been killed by the level 9 grizzly bear. They were truly grateful to this young man. Tang family? Tang Liuyan? Fu, who was standing to one side, heard the introduction of the elegant middle-aged man, and his eyes narrowed as he secretly sucked in a breath of cold air. Earlier, although he had heard the three men say that they were from the Tang family, he had not thought of the Tycoon Tang family. Now, hearing the introduction of the elegant middle-aged man, he realized, this middle-aged man was the chief of the Tycoon Tang family, Tang Liuyan. Tang Liuyan, the patriarch of the Tycoon Tang family, was a level 9 adept. It was precisely because of his existence that the Tang family was considered a high-class tycoon family among the tycoon families. And now, such a person was bowing respectfully in front of his young master. Young master, at that moment, Fu looked at Zhou Donghuang with even more admiration. Yes. Zhou Donghuang nodded lightly as he walked to the stone table in the front yard and sat down. He looked at Tang Liuyan and asked, "Where is the bear's gallbladder?" "Young master Donghuang, this is the gallbladder of a grizzly bear." At Tang Liuyan's signal, the second elder of the Tang family, Tang Yong, stepped forward and placed the box on the stone table in front of Zhou Donghuang, along with a stack of silver notes beside it. Zhou Donghuang opened the box and looked at the intact bear's gallbladder. He nodded and looked at the stack of silver notes on the table. Zhou Donghuang placed his right hand on the table, palm facing down, and clenched it into a fist. He tapped the table lightly with his index and middle fingers as he looked at Tang Liuyan and asked, "What is the meaning of this?" "Young master Donghuang." Tang Lionian said respectfully, the body of the grizzly bear, other than the bear's gallbladder, is worth more than 1,000,000 liang of silver. This 1,000,000 liang of silver is the price of the rest of the grizzly bear's body from the Tang family. I said before, other than the bear core, you can do whatever you want with the rest. Zhou Donghuang looked deeply at Tang Lionian. Young Master Donghuang. Tang Lionian said seriously, yesterday, you saved the three of us in time. That is already a great kindness. How can we take advantage of you? Without waiting for Zhou Donghuang to speak, Tang Lionian took out an invitation and placed it on the stone table in front of Zhou Donghuang. Just as Duanling Tian saw the invitation and a look of confusion flashed across his eyes, Tang Lionian said, Young Master Donghuang, the Tang family will be hosting a banquet in 10 days' time, inviting all the chiefs of the grand families and above in the Chu royal city. The purpose of this banquet is to thank you for saving the lives of me and the two elders. Yesterday, if the three of us had died in the Lost Forest, the Tang family would have been reduced from a tycoon family to a grand family. The purpose of this banquet is to thank you for saving the lives of the three of us, and also to thank you for giving the Tang family a new lease on life. Following Tang Lionian's words, not only did he bow, but the two Tang family elders behind him also did the same. I'll accept this 1,000,000 liang of silver, there's no need to trouble yourself with the rest. Zhou Donghuang shook his head as he spoke. Young Master Donghuang, early this morning, the Tang family has already sent invitations to all the grand families and above in the Chu royal city. In 10 days' time, we hope that young Master Donghuang will be present, or else this banquet of the Tang family will be meaningless. After saying this, Tang Lionian left with the two Tang family elders to bid farewell to Zhou Donghuang, as if leaving Zhou Donghuang no choice. Of course, even if Tang Lionian did so, no one could feel any ill will towards him. After all, his intentions were good, and it was clear that he was a grateful person, even if he was trying to curry favor with Zhou Donghuang. This Tang Lionian is really particular. After the three Tang family elders left, Zhou Donghuang shook his head with a smile and opened the invitation. His name was not written on it, only the word benefactor. Obviously, when the Tang family had prepared this invitation, they had not known his name. Fu. After letting Fu put away the bear gallbladder, invitation, and silver, Zhou Donghuang left his seat and returned to his room to practice. It was only in the afternoon, when it was time for lunch, that Fu called him out of his room again. Walking out of the room, he immediately saw a large round table in the front yard. The table was filled with piping hot dishes. Although they did not look good, they still smelled fragrant and made people want to eat. At the round table, Fu and Auntie Mei stood to one side. The slender young girl stood in front of the table, smiling at Zhou Donghuang as he walked out of his room. Big brother Zhou, do you remember what day it is today? What day? Zhou Donghuang was stunned. Young master, today is the day you come of age. Fu could not help but remind him. Young Master Donghuang. At the same time, Auntie Mei looked at the young girl in front of the table with a pained expression, then looked at Zhou Donghuang and said with a smile, all the dishes on this table were personally prepared by my mistress. As early as 3 months ago, she asked me to teach her how to cook for you on this day, to celebrate your coming of age. Auntie Mei's words caused Zhou Donghuang's calm heart to tremble uncontrollably. When he looked at the young girl again, his gaze became much warmer. Zishi, you've worked hard, but, actually, I'm not that particular. Zhou Donghuang sighed. Big brother Zhou, I've wanted to learn how to cook for a long time. This time, it's just a coincidence. As the young girl spoke with a smile, a look of disappointment flashed in the depths of her eyes. Big brother Zhou, sit down and eat. The young girl stood up and helped Zhou Donghuang pull out the chair in front of the table. Only when Zhou Donghuang sat down did she sit beside him and pick some food for him. Brother Fu, Auntie Mei, sit down too. The young girl did not forget to call out to Fu and Auntie Mei, and the two of them responded and sat down. Sometimes, the arrangement of fate seemed to be playing tricks on people. If not for yesterday's incident, perhaps Zhou Donghuang's feelings for the young girl would have changed from being moved to being attracted to her. However, yesterday's incident had already made Zhou Donghuang's heart fill with a woman. Now, although he was moved, he did not dare to be moved. Between him and Luo Qinghan, what was done could not be undone. Even if he did not already have feelings for Luo Qinghan, as a man, he would definitely have to bear responsibility for taking away her first time. As for Yang Zishi, he could only choose to restrain himself. After all, he was no longer alone. In layman's terms, he was no longer single. After the meal, Zhou Donghuang felt like he was sitting on pins and needles. After eating his fill, he immediately used practicing as an excuse to return to his room. Seeing this, the young girl sighed, her beautiful face full of disappointment. "Miss, don't be discouraged. I can see that young Master Donghuang is very touched by this meal. I believe that young Master Donghuang will sooner or later realize how good you are and accept you." Aunt Mei looked at the young girl with heartache and consoled her. Fu could not help but shake his head. He had always felt that this Lady Zishi was very suitable for his young master, but the unrequited love was unrequited love, and he could only watch anxiously from the side. "Big brother Fu, big brother Zhou, does he have someone he likes?" the young girl asked softly as she looked at Fu. Immediately, Aunt Mei's gaze fell on Fu. After all, in her opinion, a man who could not be moved by her mistress's efforts was either already in love, or he did not like women. "No." Fu shook his head confidently. "Fu, young Master Donghuang, could it be that he does not like women?" Aunt Mei asked with a strange look in her eyes. Fu was stunned for a moment, then thought back. Ever since he had started following his young master, he did not seem to have seen his young master like any woman in that way. "Aunt Mei, I have not seen my young master like any woman, but I have not seen my young master like any man either." Fu opened his mouth to explain, but as soon as the words left his mouth, he regretted them. As Fu's words fell, not only did Aunt Mei's gaze turn strange, but even the young girl's gaze turned strange. Chapter 102. I only broke through to level 8 of Qi gathering half a month ago. Even with the help of the concentration elixir and the tenfold increase in sensitivity to Qi, it will take me at least half a year to attain level 9 of Qi gathering. Zhou Donghuang reclined on the bed, his head leaning against the headboard, the thumb of his right hand straight and the other 4 fingers bent, the pad of his index finger resting on his chin, his thumb gently rubbing his chin. And from level 9 of Qi gathering to petty consummation of Qi gathering, it will take me at least a year and a half. Even if I am lucky and can get my hands on some treasured herbs to aid my practice, it will still take me about a year and a half to break through from level 8 of Qi gathering to petty consummation of Qi gathering. And now I am not far from great consummation of Qi gathering. Without the help of any treasured herbs to aid my practice, I will definitely attain great consummation of Qi gathering in half a year at most. Even though Zhou Donghuang had thousands of years' worth of memories from 1,000 years ago, he still felt like he was in a dream about his recent progress in practice. No wonder so many martial adepts in my previous life were obsessed with the way of yin and yang dual cultivation. I don't even know the way of dual cultivation, yet I've received such benefits. If I knew the way of dual cultivation, I would most likely be able to enter the Khanate stage directly. After all, she is a primal core adept. At this thought, Zhou Donghuang's mind once again involuntarily flashed back to the image of a woman in a light green dress, her unparalleled beauty, and the scene of them flirting with each other. "Luo Qinghan, she said she is from the planet of Tianxian." Tianxian, I do not have any impression of it, but I am sure she is not from the galaxy where the planet of Ziyun is. She is also not from the galaxy where Earth is. However, she is only about 20 years old, and she has attained the primal core stage. Since that planet can produce such a martial genius, it means that it is not a small, unknown planet. When I leave the planet of Ziyun, I can ask around, and it will not be difficult to find out. Oh, right. I almost forgot, I have not dealt with the grizzly bear's gallbladder. Thinking about the gallbladder of the grizzly bear, Zhou Donghuang immediately found a pen and paper and wrote down a list of herbs. He then handed it to Fu and asked him to buy all the herbs on the list. These medicinal herbs, together with the gallbladder of the Herculean bear, could be concocted into a medicinal powder called qi-increasing powder. It could forcibly increase the strength of one's true qi for a short period of time, and it could last for 10 breaths. The increase in the strength of his jinqi exceeded 500 kilograms. Most importantly, the qi-increasing elixir formulated by Zhou Donghuang was different from ordinary qi-increasing elixirs. It had no side effects. Most qi-increasing elixirs had some side effects, and the effects were not as good as the qi-increasing elixir formulated by Zhou Donghuang. That night, Fu delivered the herbs to his door. Zhou Donghuang had used the gallbladder of the level 9 grizzly bear to formulate 10 bottles of qi-increasing elixir, which he kept in his robes in case he needed it. January 11, 1228 of the Ziyun era. On this day, the Tycoon Tang family of the Chu royal city had set up a banquet, inviting all the grand families and above of the Chu royal city. The Tang family had even sent out invitations to the Chu royal family. Of course, although the Tang family had sent invitations to the Chu royal family to invite the king of the Chu royal family, the king would definitely not attend. At most, he would send someone to attend. Even the patriarchs of the elite tycoon families would not attend the banquet, and at most they would send an elder of the family. After all, the Tang family was at most a superior-level tycoon family. It seems that the Tang family has set up this banquet just to express their gratitude to one person? Yes. It is said that the patriarch of the Tang family, the head elder of the Tang family, and the second elder of the Tang family entered the Lost Forest and encountered a grizzly bear. They were almost killed by the grizzly bear. At the critical moment, someone intervened and saved them. Grizzly bear? As far as I know, there is only one grizzly bear in the Lost Forest, and it has already matured. It is a level 9 demon, and it is second only to the 2 golden-crowned eagles in power in the Lost Forest. That's right. It is the grizzly bear that even a petty consummation adept of the Qi gathering cannot kill. To be able to save the 3 members of the Tang family from the grizzly bear, even if they work together to repel the grizzly bear, the other party must be at least a level 9 adept. If the 3 members of the Tang family had died there, the Tang family would have been reduced to a grand family. No wonder the Tang family has set up such a grand banquet to express their gratitude. All over the Chu royal city, there were similar discussions. Obviously, the Tycoon Tang family who had set up the banquet had not leaked the details, only some superficial information. For example, that the person who had saved the 3 members of the Tang family was a youth. For example, that the grizzly bear had been killed, and not forced to retreat as everyone had guessed. Or that the grizzly bear had been killed by the youth alone. As for these details, the patriarch of the Tang family, Tang Liuyan, and the 2 elders of the Tang family had only told those close to them for the time being, and had not spread the news widely. They were prepared to recount the details of what had happened at the banquet, and to express their gratitude to their benefactor in front of everyone. At the main entrance of the Tang family household. Because the Tang family had set up a banquet, people began to arrive at the main entrance of the Tang family household in the evening, showing their invitations to enter. At first, there were fewer people. Soon, more and more people arrived, and there was even a small queue. The Shi family is here. Someone in the queue recognized the 2 men who had just alighted from the carriage and were walking towards the main entrance of the Tang family household. It's the second master of the Shi family, Shi Yan. The youth beside him is the first young master of the Tang family, Shi Yu. Shi Yan was a middle-aged man dressed in a silver robe with gold trim. His face was determined, his eyes bright and piercing, and he had a small mustache on his chin. He looked very shrewd. Today, Shi Yu was wearing a gray and white robe, walking shoulder to shoulder with Shi Yan. His complexion looked much better than before. Second Master Shi. Young Master Shi. The Shi family was the first tycoon family to arrive so far. The few people in the queue were all from grand families, and seeing the two from the Shi family, they all made way. This was the power of a tycoon family, and even the elite grand families could not compare. The patriarch of the Wei family is here. Beside him is the first young master of the Wei family, Wei Hongtao. He is also the first among the younger generation of the grand families of the Chu royal city. Not long after the two from the Shi family entered, the elite Wei family arrived as well. The patriarch of the Wei family had come personally, accompanied by the first young master of the Wei family. Obviously, the Wei family took the Tang family's banquet very seriously. That's the carriage of the Ouyang family? However, regardless of whether it was the people from the Shi family or the Wei family, none of them could compare to a carriage that was approaching from afar. The two large characters embroidered on the curtains of the carriage attracted the attention of the onlookers near the entrance of the Tang family residence from afar. Ouyang. Obviously, this was the carriage of the Ouyang family. And in the Chu royal city, there was only one Ouyang family, and that was the tycoon Ouyang family. The Ouyang family had 3 level 9 adepts and almost 10 level 8 adepts, and was one of the only 3 elite tycoon families in the Chu royal city. Now, the onlookers near the main entrance of the Tang family household were basically not from the grand families and above, but just passers-by who had come to join in the fun. I wonder who is coming from the Ouyang family. The patriarch of the Ouyang family is definitely not coming. In my opinion, it should be the head elder or the third elder of the Ouyang family. The Ouyang family had a total of 3 level 9 adepts, and they were the patriarch, the head elder, and the third elder of the Ouyang family. In a moment, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, a well-built old man in a grey robe stepped out of the carriage, leaped lightly off the carriage, and walked towards the Tang family household. Very quickly, someone recognized the old man. It's the third elder of the Ouyang family, Ouyang Zhen. Ouyang Zhen was one of the only 3 level 9 adepts in the Ouyang family, and he held a high position in the Ouyang family. Even in the Chu royal city, a level 9 adept of Qi gathering was a formidable figure. Ouyang Zhen's appearance had unsurprisingly attracted the attention of the crowd of onlookers outside the main entrance of the Tang family mansion. Elder Ouyang Zhen. Even the Tang family juniors guarding the main entrance of the Tang family household were far more respectful to Ouyang Zhen than they had been to any of the people who had entered before them. This was the power of a level 9 adept. At the main entrance of the Zheng family household. Quick! Quick! A middle-aged man hurriedly boarded the carriage parked outside the main entrance with a gorgeously dressed young lady, and the carriage headed for the Tang family household. Xiaofan, you're too slow, our Zheng family is only an inferior grand family, and if we're late, the Tang family will have a bad impression of us. In the carriage, the middle-aged man, who was the patriarch of the grand Zheng family, Zheng Donglai, frowned slightly as he spoke to the young lady sitting opposite him. The young lady was his daughter, third young mistress of the Zheng family, Zheng Qiuhe. He. Father, I'm just trying to look prettier, right? Zheng Qiuhe giggled. Didn't you tell me the night before yesterday that the benefactor that the Tang family is holding today with great fanfare to thank is a youth? Zheng Donglai was taken aback at first, but then he laughed. So that's what you were thinking, Qiuhe, good. Qiuhe, if you can get together with that youth, even if it's just to be his concubine, the Zheng family's meteoric rise will be just around the corner. Zheng Donglai was close to one of the Tang family's direct descendants. The day before yesterday, he had learned from the other party that the benefactor that the Tang family was holding this banquet to thank was a youth who was about to come of age. Moreover, that youth had the ability to kill a grizzly bear single-handedly. At that time, Zheng Donglai had realized. Chapter 103. At the main entrance of the Ren family household. A horse carriage was moving slowly towards the Tang family household. In the carriage, a middle-aged man dressed in a dark yellow robe, tall and well-built, with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes, was sitting opposite an old man. The old man was dressed in a green robe, of medium build and ordinary features. His long gray hair flowed down his back, and he sat solemnly at the side of the carriage. "Chief, did first young mistress say that she wanted to attend the banquet at the Tang family household with you?" The old man was the head elder of the Ren family, Ren Xiong. From the way he addressed the middle-aged man sitting opposite him, this middle-aged man was obviously the chief of the Ren family, Ren Tianqing. "That girl, I don't know what's wrong with her recently, she has not left the house for more than 10 days, she used to like to join in the fun, but when I went to look for her yesterday and asked if she wanted to attend the Tang family banquet with me, she rejected me without hesitation." Ren Tianqing shook his head with a bitter smile, his eyes full of confusion. "First young mistress used to go out frequently, and was very close to Yang Zishi. It's a good thing that she has not gone out now, at least she will not incur the wrath of the Shi family because she is close to Yang Zishi," Ren Xiong said. And the person that Ren Tianqing and Ren Xiong were talking about was first young mistress of the Ren family, Ren Jiape. Ever since the gathering at the Wei family household more than 10 days ago, Ren Jiape had been staying in the Ren family household, not going out at all. She was no longer as lively as before, and those who had met her during this time had realized that she was no longer as cheerful as before. And the reason she was like this was all because of the word love. After that day, Ren Jiape had realized that she had fallen deeply in love with the youth by Yang Zishi's side, to the point where she could not bear to part with him. But Yang Zishi also liked that youth. She saw Yang Zishi as her own sister, and in addition, Yang Zishi had saved her life when she was young. She could not possibly compete with Yang Zishi over him. Because of this, she had been locking herself in her room recently, saying that she was practicing in seclusion, but in reality, she was escaping. Today, the Tang family household was very lively. All the chiefs of the grand families of the Chu royal city had come, without exception. In addition, many patriarchs of the tycoon families of the Chu royal city had also come personally. Although the patriarchs of the 3 elite tycoon families were not present, they had each sent a family elder, and all of them were level 9 adepts of Qi gathering, giving the Tang family plenty of face. Now, of all the grand families of the Chu royal city and above, only the Chu royal household had not sent anyone who had received an invitation. No one was surprised by this. The Chu royal household was the master of the Chu royal city, as well as the master of the entire western ridge of the Chu king. Even the most elite tycoon families had to rely on them to survive. Although the Tang family was a tycoon family, they were not a threat to the Chu royal household, and the Chu royal household did not need to consider whether to give the Tang family face. If they didn't give face to the Tang family, what could the Tang family do? To put it bluntly, in the eyes of the Chu royal household, even a top tycoon family was just a slightly larger ant. Other than the people from the Chu royal household, all the grand families and above seemed to be here. At the main entrance of the Tang family household, a few of the Tang family disciples in charge of reception opened the name list in their hands and scanned it, quickly discovering that it was not only the Chu royal household who had not come. There was still one person who had not come. However, this person did not belong to any family, but was listed first on the list, with only the word benefactor. I didn't notice earlier, could the benefactor on the first line of the list be the person who saved the lives of the patriarch, head elder, and second elder of the Tang family's banquet tonight? One of the Tang family disciples guessed. It should be. Another Tang family disciple nodded with a serious expression. I remember all the guests who came today. They are all from the grand families and above, there are no unfamiliar faces. Since that person's name is not on the list, he must not be from the grand families of the Chu royal city, or even from our Chu royal city. Why is that person not here yet? If he is not here, what is the point of our banquet today? A few of the Tang family disciples looked around for a while, but still did not see anyone walking towards the main entrance of the Tang family household. As the star of today's banquet, the person who had saved the lives of the patriarch, head elder, and second elder of the Tang family, would he not come? The person from the Chu royal household probably won't come. As time passed, the crowd of onlookers at the main entrance of the Tang family household gradually dispersed. And just as more than half of the crowd had dispersed, at the end of the road, a white figure and a beautiful figure in a rose-red dress walked side by side. The two of them walked directly to the main entrance of the Tang family household. The youth in white took out an invitation from his pocket and handed it to a Tang family disciple who was guarding the door. They are from the Chu royal household? Impossible. I know all the reputable people in the Chu royal household. These two can't be from the Chu royal household. Among the onlookers who had yet to leave, some guessed that the youth and the girl before them were from the Chu royal household, but this was quickly refuted. That young girl, isn't she Yang Zishi, who was personally expelled from the Yang family by Patriarch Yang Yunji 4 months ago? Yang Zishi? Did I find her familiar just now? That's right, she is Yang Zishi. Very quickly, someone recognized the young girl in the rose-red dress. She was Miss Zishi of the former Grand Yang family, who had been expelled from the Yang family 4 months ago. The Yang Zishi who was expelled from the Yang family? You can't have mistaken her for someone else, right? Those Tang family disciples were much more enthusiastic towards her and the youth beside her than they were towards the patriarch of the Yang family, Yang Yunji. Not to mention Yang Yunji, even the elders of the 3 top tycoon families didn't seem to be this enthusiastic. Under the gazes of the surrounding crowd, a few Tang family disciples bowed as they moved in unison to welcome the young man and woman who looked like a pair of golden boy and jade girl. I am certain that she is Yang Zishi. The reason why these Tang family disciples are so enthusiastic is probably because of that youth. In the Chu royal city, there are very few people who can make these Tang family disciples act this way. Are you trying to say that this youth is the young master of the Chu royal household? I have seen all the young masters of the Chu royal household, and he is not one of them. Zhou Donghuang, who had been warmly welcomed into the Tang family household by the Tang family disciples, did not know that he had been mistaken for the young master of the Chu royal household. The Tang family disciples who were guarding the door were shocked when they saw Zhou Donghuang's invitation, and they respectfully welcomed him into the Tang family household. This was because, on Zhou Donghuang's invitation, the words benefactor were written on the line for the invited. Of course, the Tang family disciples did not think that the youth before them had saved their patriarch, head elder, and second elder. They only thought that it was the youth's elder who had saved them, and that the youth was only attending the banquet on behalf of his elder. Even so, they did not dare to be negligent. Young Master Zhou, please come in. One of the Tang family disciples stayed behind to bring Zhou Donghuang and Yang Zishi to the place where the Tang family was hosting the banquet, the spacious front courtyard of the Tang family household. Earlier, when one of the Tang family disciples had asked Zhou Donghuang how he should be addressed, Zhou Donghuang had casually given his name, so the Tang family disciples already knew that his surname was Zhou. Go ahead, we will go there ourselves. Just as the Tang family disciple was about to bring them directly to see the patriarch, Tang Liunian, Zhou Donghuang stopped him, and the latter naturally obeyed, not daring to go against Zhou Donghuang's wishes. The Tang family was an upper-level tycoon family in the Chu royal city, and its family household occupied a vast area, much larger than that of the tycoon Shi family. Now, in the spacious front courtyard of the Tang family household, there were many large round tables, many of which were already seated, and many more were standing in groups of 3 to 5, chatting idly. With just one glance, Zhou Donghuang saw, in the distance, at the easternmost round table in the front courtyard, the patriarch of the Tang family, Tang Liunian, was chatting idly with 3 old men. The second elder of the Tang family, Tang Yusen, and the third elder, Tang Yong, were also standing far away, chatting idly with a few others. Because of the distance, and the commotion in the front courtyard, when Zhou Donghuang brought Yang Zishi into the front courtyard, the 3 of them did not notice them for the time being. However, While the three of them did not notice Zhou Donghuang and Yang Zishi, someone else did. Isn't that Yang Zishi? Many people recognized the young girl beside Zhou Donghuang. Wasn't Yang Zishi expelled from the Yang family? Now that she is not a member of a grand family, how can she be here? Today, the Tang family is hosting a banquet, inviting people from all the grand families and above. This Yang Zishi, who was expelled from the Yang family, should not have the right to be here. How did she get here? Could it be that the young man beside her brought her here? As the crowd whispered, many people's gazes fell on Zhou Donghuang. Now, although Zhou Donghuang was already 18 years old, and more than 1.8 meters tall, he was already a young man, but there was still a hint of childishness in his features, and it was easy to mistake him for a young man. It's him. This young man, isn't he the one who maimed the arm of Zhang Yongshan of the Zhang family 10 days ago at the Wei family household? He actually did not die. The first young master of the Shi family, Shiyu, did not seek him out for revenge? Many of the young men of the grand families present recognized Zhou Donghuang at a glance, and as they whispered, their gazes all turned to a round table in the distance. The first young master of the Shi family, Shiyu, sat there, his back facing them. Shiyu? You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.